Kentucky is more than just its name, and so are we. You might not know us, but you've seen us all around our beautiful state, from the farmer growing his business to the parents growing their family. We're not confined to a campus or a city. We're people helping people, Kentuckians united together. You might not know our name, but we're ready to learn yours. University of Kentucky Federal Credit Union. Banking, only better.
What if you could do all your banking without ever having to run to your bank? What if you could do your banking from any stadium or city in the country? It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. With traditional banks, online and mobile banking, it couldn't be more simple. My life moves pretty fast, and Traditional Bank's team protects me while I do what I do best, at home or away. Way to go, Traditional Bank. You scored again. Traditional Bank's online and mobile banking. Winners at home and on the road.
Traditional Bank.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter, locally owned and operated since 1972.
Folks, this is Gary Ball, and you hear my catchphrase, soup and a sandwich. When I want the best potato soup and prime rib sandwich, I head over to Rafferty's Restaurants after my games. Check out Rafferty's 9 great locations throughout Kentucky, and all you teens, you can eat at Rafferty's before those big ball games. The open prime rib sandwich is what legends are made of. Ask Joe B. Hall, the legend himself, it's his favorite. Rafferty's a big supporter of high school sports throughout Kentucky. Rafferty's, where the special is you.
Good evening from Lexington Catholic High School in Central Kentucky on a beautiful night for football at Joseph K. Ford Stadium here on the campus of Lexington Catholic High School. It's Western Hills and Lexington Catholic as we get you set for district football around the state of Kentucky and especially here in Central Kentucky. You got Coach Mike Meehan. I have also Coach Donnie Walker. I'm Darren Douglas sitting in for Gary Ball. As Coach Meehan put so eloquently, I am the number one sub off the bench. Is that what you said?
You're the first guy off the bench, Darren. So,
well, coaches, we've got a contrast of two teams here. Lexington Catholic would like to throw the football to set up the run. Mm-hmm. Western Hills would much rather not throw the football very much at all tonight and keep it on the ground.
Well, Donnie and I have talked about this before. Western Hills has a pretty stout defense, don't they, Donnie?
They do. They play really, really well. They're fundamentally sound, and they're athletic too, defensively for sure. They've played some really tight games, and you know they've won the same amount of games as Catholic has so far.
Right. I think, Darren, that what we're going to see is they're going to be we have a dry field, we have a good weather, so it's going to be which team can use their strengths to their advantage. And Lexington Catholic's got a lot of strengths.
Well, there's one stat when I was looking at the stats leading up to this ball game, simply was this, that Lexington Catholic has gotten off to slow starts in the first half. So if Western Hills can jump on them, that puts Lexington Catholic behind the 8 ball, and the Knights have been there pretty much all season long.
Well, Donnie's seen both of these teams. I haven't seen Western Hills. What do you think the keys to the game would be for Western Hills, Donnie?
Well, obviously they do need to get off to a fast start offensively. They're going to have to be able to establish the run, and part of that, to me, I think what they need to do is they got a really dynamic freshman, Wandale Robinson, who can make a lot of plays, and they need to get him the ball in space if they can, as many times as they can. And the other thing they have to do is they have to avoid negative plays. They've got to avoid fumbles. They've got to avoid penalties, especially in the red zone.
Well, both teams, turnovers make a huge difference in these high school football games. You talked about Robinson. He's a small guy, 5'6", 142 pounds, but he can make you miss.
He can. He is. Wait till you see him play. You'll be impressed. He's a lot of fun to watch play.
Well, the other thing I heard about Robinson, too, though, is he doesn't mind running between the tackles. You think somebody so slight of build would not get it between the tackles, but he'll stick his nose up in there.
Yeah, he's a really tough kid.
Well, we're getting ready for the national anthem. We'll be back to Lexington Catholic High School here in just a moment on PrepSpin.com.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. every day. No matter where we serve, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Thank you for tuning in to tonight's ball game. Lexington Catholic hopes to pave the way for the future digital network. If you would like to get your business into the game as a Night Vision sponsor, please contact Delane Thiel at 277-7183 extension 253 or dthiel@lexingtoncatholic.com. Go Knights! Thank you for tuning in to tonight's ball game. Lexington Catholic hopes to pave the way for the future of high school sports broadcasting through this exciting new digital network. If you would like to get your business into the game as a Night Vision sponsor, please contact Delane Thiel at 277-7183 extension 253 or dthiel@lexingtoncatholic.com. Go Knights!
I'm Marcy Ansley, Executive Director at Lexington Hearing and Speech Center. We've grown into a statewide organization to help children and adults with communication disorders, both hearing and speech. Traditional Bank has been part of our team since we were in the little buildings over on Ashland. We wouldn't be in this building today if it wasn't for their support. I think what makes our banking experience unique is outstanding customer service that we get. They have become part of our family. They have become part of our finance team. Traditional Bank is passionate about what they do.
Back to Lexington Catholic High School as we await the appearance of both teams. I look across the way. Western Hills just off out of camera shot to our left. They elected to go in front of the scoreboard there before instead of going back into the locker room. Lexington Catholic off to our right, waiting to come out. And man, what a beautiful night for football and a lot of things I was telling Coach Meehan off the air. Like, I can't wait for your UFOs every week in my broadcast. If I'm off the air at halftime, I tune in to see if you are giving them yet, just so I can hear who they are.
Yeah, we've got a couple of real interesting ones this time at halftime, one from each team, and I think the fans watching the game, listening to us, will really enjoy that. And Donnie, real quickly, Lexington Catholic's using their number 2 quarterback to go. You know a little bit more about Legend Brumbaugh. Have you got any update on him, how he's doing, or what's the story?
Well, he's progressing nicely. You know, he's got at least another couple of weeks probably before he's going to be released to go back to practice and you know, kind of see how that thing is and be able to go throw and do some stuff. And then just, you know, it's just a wait and see after that. And I'm sure you've been around that yourself.
Right now, what injury does he have? Some fans out there might not know.
Oh, he broke his collarbone. That was in the Covcath game, I guess, like week 3 maybe?
Right. Yes.
And we were here for that game, unfortunately, and he was having a phenomenal game up to that point. And he just fell on it and broke his collarbone, and it is on his throwing shoulder side. So, He's recovering nicely. He's got a great attitude. You know, you watch him on the sidelines, and he's very upbeat. He's right there with all his teammates, and he was out there today during pregame stuff. He was helping the other quarterbacks. He was shagging balls and snapping to them and all those kinds of things. So he's doing the things he's supposed to do.
Well, Darren, one of the things that from pro football all the way down to Pee Wee, it seems that football is becoming a quarterback-driven game.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a couple decent quarterbacks on these two teams tonight.
Yeah, of course, you mentioned Fagot sitting in for Brumbaugh. Has done a really nice job of filling in for Brumbaugh, though. And Daniel Childress, a dual threat quarterback. Like I said, he'd much rather run the football from that spot than throw it, though.
Yeah, but he's a very capable thrower. You know, he's fairly accurate,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing that makes him dangerous is that he's fairly accurate when he throws on the run, and he can tote it, so he can run really well. The only downside is he's one of the team's leading tacklers too. So yeah. I mean, he's on defense as well.
Well, numbers will play a factor in this one. Catholic with the bigger numbers as far as dressing out here tonight. But as I mentioned, Western Hills, they like to run the football. So if they can keep the time of possession, that's one of the most underrated, I think, in high school football is the time of possession.
Yeah, Darren, if they can hold on to the football. Because they've had trouble in the past doing that. But I'm sure the coaches have spent an awful lot of time dealing with that subject too. So. I'm looking forward to it. We got about 3 minutes to go. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't catch who got the going to get the football first.
Yeah.
It looked like Lexington Catholic did, right?
Catholic won the toss, and they chose to receive.
Okay, so Lexington Catholic will get the football to start the game. We'll be back in just a moment with the kickoff of tonight's game between Western Hills and Lexington Catholic here in just a moment.
Kentucky is more than just its name, and so are we. You might not know us, but you've seen us all around our beautiful state, from the farmer growing his business to the parents growing their family. We're not confined to a campus or a city. We're people helping people, Kentuckians united together. You might not know our name, but we're ready to learn yours. University of Kentucky Federal Credit Union. Banking, only better.
Lights on them.
Back here at Lexington Catholic, the Knights make their appearance before the home crowd here. Tonight's broadcast is in high-definition videos presented by White Greer and Maggard Orthodontics. We also have fine sponsors along the network: Kentucky Sports Medicine, Collins Bowling Centers, both Eastland and Southland. They have Lexington Clinic, Traditional Bank, Roberts Insurance, All Sports in the Fayette Mall, and Robbie Davis Zija. So we're about set. Coach, this is, I've been doing this a long time, and I always seem to get nervous before broadcast, especially if you're expecting a good ball game. This one is going to, I think, dictate by who forces their will on the other one on the offensive side of the ball, and then, of course, who takes care of the football.
Well, I think all three of us at one time or another were on the sideline coaching, and we had that kind of nerves too.
Mm-hmm.
But when you know some of the kids and you're up here in the press box, you feel it also because you feel for them. You feel for the kids. The offensive coordinator for Western Hills was my first quarterback at Dunbar in 1990. And
I remember him. That's what's scary.
He went 98 yards on a quarterback sneak one time, Donnie.
Really?
So he's still in a record.
Did he go on pressure?
No, I don't think he
Okay.
did. But the center told him which way to run.
There you go. Well, Lexington Catholic will receive the opening kickoff. They'll move right to left, and they're up tight in the deep positions. Andy Thompson will be the deeper guy for the Knights. And this one is a low line drive. We'll skip at the 20. Thompson will bobble it, pick it up at the 10. Angles off to the right. Now has a alley down here the left side. Cuts it up to the 25, the 30, the 35, the 40. Gets a block. One man to beat. He's in chase. Thompson will not be caught. 90 yards to open the game for Lexington Catholic on the kickoff return for a touchdown. And again, we see, though, where a bobbled kickoff, everybody breaks down out of their lanes.
Yeah, that's what seems to happen all the time. But we both, I think you mentioned that we both, all three of us saw a heck of a block right down on around the 40 or 50-yard line.
Yeah, that was the one that sprung him for sure. That was probably the kicker. That was the safety that got knocked down, got pancaked.
Yeah, really did.
That was Donovan Morris with the block that sprung him, and now Morris will attempt the extra point. And Western Hills with players late coming on the field here.
Yeah, that's kind of strange, to be late, not prepared to come on for the kickoff. For the extra point after.
You know how these sudden change things happen. They weren't expecting to do that right off the bat.
Catholic will bring their formation together. Is that Thompson the holder? I can't see from here, Coach.
I think it is.
Yes.
I think so,
It usually is.
The snap is a good one, and Morris's kick is up and just squeaks inside the right upright. So we're 11:44 to play in the opening quarter. Lexington Catholic strikes with a 90-yard kickoff return by Andy Thompson. Lead Western Hills 7-0. Back with more here on PrepSpin.com.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter, locally owned and operated since 1972.
Well, 7-0, 16 seconds in on a 90-yard kickoff return by Andy Thompson. And now Francisco Rios will tee it up for the Knights on the right hash mark. Back deep for Western Hills. To the near side is Jalen Youngblood. And to the far side is Wandell Robinson. That's the guy, Coach Walker, you've talked about watching.
Yes, he's very electric.
Let's not kick the ball to him then, all right?
It'll come down to Robinson at the 8. He has an alley up the middle, dances a free, and then somebody grabs a shirt tail and drops him at about the 21, maybe the 22-yard line.
Well, that'll be interesting to see how Catholic approaches this the defense against Western Hills. We've watched Catholic a lot this year, and defensively they're pretty strong. But again, I think they're struggling a little bit in the secondary.
Well, the thing is, what I'm interested to see, Coach, is what they're going to do with all this motion that Western Hills is going to show at them, or show to them. Are they going to play their traditional man and chase, or are they going to just bump across and try to maintain integrity, or what are they going to do?
Childers to the shotgun, drops back to throw, gets it out here to the near side, and off the hands of the receiver, Thurman Seals.
Yeah, you know what? That's a long throw for a quarterback, especially a high school quarterback, from the hash all the way across the field on an out route. But again, looked like Catholic was in zone that time, Tommy.
Yeah, and that's his first throw of the game too, and I totally agree with you. I'm a firm believer in trying to get these guys in a rhythm, give them some easy throws early, build their confidence.
They bring Robinson in motions, pitch it on the sweep to him. He's in trouble in the backfield, gets away from the first man, and then is swarmed over by a number of Knights, and leading that charge.
Well, that was a nice job of actually setting the edge.
Yeah,
came out there real fast, and just did a really good job of getting out there to set him up to make the tackle.
Austin Louderback was the first Knight there.
Yeah, Zach Middleton was out there too. He really set the.
Looked like the pitch kind of fluttered too on Childers, as he either couldn't get it out of his hand or.
Yeah, it was a little slow developing.
Snap is low. Here they come with the pressure on the outside. Louderback, here's Childers where he's dangerous with his feet, and he's going to trip over his own blocker ahead of him, and that was.
And this has been part of Western Hills' undoing, throughout the season is they wind up in situations like a 4th and 18. They wind up having a negative play that can kill a drive, and it's unfortunate because they do have some talent. They obviously haven't shown it on this first drive yet.
Well, excuse me, Darren.
Go ahead.
But, that first down, when you don't complete a pass on first down, you got 2nd and 10, that puts you in a hole. I agree with you. Throw something you can complete on first down.
I gave credit on the tackle by Eli Mitchell. Nice punt. It's going to be fair caught at the 43-yard line of Western Hills by Obugu. I practiced that name all day, guys.
Obugu? He's a talent, too. We've watched him.
I knew his name was going to be called a lot tonight, so hopefully I got it right the first time.
Well, I wonder if Coach Cantrell has a little something special for this first play from scrimmage for the offense of the Knights.
He's been known.
Goes the quarterback. He has Jones straight behind him. They turn. They pitch it back on the end around. He wants to throw it. It looks like he's going to pull it down, though. And gets a nice block ahead of him and gets into
good game.
Inside the 40, inside the 35. I couldn't see the lineman that was out in front of him. They gave him the block there, but that was Andy Thompson on the end around. Looked like he wanted to throw it, but then decided he had plenty of room to pull it down and run.
Now, they're a tempo team. They're going to go as fast as they can against this Western Hills team that doesn't have a lot of depth. Donnie, they look like they're in a 4-4.
They give it off to Jones, straight up the middle, cuts off to the left, spins away, gets inside the 30, the 25, down around the corner, gets a block ahead of him, steps out of bounds. He'll be marked out at about the 15-yard line, giving 17. Another really Catholic first down.
That was a really nice run right there. He got some nice blocking up front, did a great job bouncing it outside and getting right up the sideline. And to go to your point, I'm surprised that they've kind of gotten out of what they've done all year, being a 3-3 team going into a 4-man front.
Yeah, I think they're just looking for a passing team. They're trying to stop the pass, but you can't let them complete those, that's for sure.
Well, I saw them against Franklin County, who is one of the more prolific passing teams in the state, and they played the 3-3 stack against them and did a really good job on the perimeter. So I don't know if they've got some injuries or some other reason for doing it, but uncharacteristic.
Complete pass to Andy Thompson for 14 for another first down for Catholic. First to goal at the Western Hills 1, and Jones goes in standing. There's a guy who had a shot at him in the backfield for the Wolverines. Looks like to be number 58, Garrett Brock. And Jones able to scamper into the end zone for a touchdown. So with 9:22 to play in the opening quarter, Catholic leads 13-0, and looking to add the extra point is Morris.
You know, we don't give enough credit to offensive line, but that was an easy run for a touchdown. But Woodford, Langford, and Welcher and Tuberty, Gahardstein, Ballard, all those guys open up those holes. They've been doing it all year.
They actually have 2 number ones, Coach.
I know.
I noticed that.
Rios, I think, is their kicker.
And of course, the rule is they can't be on the field at the same time as this is Morris, who again looks like he sneaks it right in the upright and does.
Into the woods.
So 14-0, Lexington Catholic, just barely 2.5 minutes into this one. And we'll be back with a kickoff here from Lexington on PrepSpin.com.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, no matter where.
So quickly, Lexington Catholic on top, 14-0 over Western Hills. Darren Douglas with coaches Mike Meehan and Donnie Walker here. Kick goes out of bounds along about the 12-yard line. Let's see what Coach Don Miller, the head man over at Western Hills, decides to do.
Donnie's a good coach. He was at Dunbar for a while as an assistant. I think he's a defensive guy. You know, Donnie's a defensive guy. So.
Yeah, and his teams mimic him. He is a very intense individual.
He really is.
You know, he's been there. I think this is his 10th season there.
Yeah,
which means he was there when I was at Franklin County, and that seems like a long time ago.
He spent 1 year after I think at Dunbar for several years. He spent 1 year at Woodford County as the defensive coordinator. Maybe 2. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while.
I tell you, going back, Coach, to your point about tempo with Lexington Catholic, I think that does 2 things for them right now. I think it really helps a young quarterback, you know, because it kind of limits what you can do defensively. And I think when they saw that they had basically they got a 5-man box. They had a 4-down lineman, 1 linebacker in the box. They had a 5-man box, so it's a very favorable box for them to run into. And when you've got one of the best running backs in the state back there, that's kind of mind-boggling to me that's how you would play it.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, actually, this is one of those situations too where you can call the play on the line of scrimmage. As long as you're in that, just keep running the ball, keep hitting them, run the zone, and so on.
And you know, that's what they've beat people with all year is just feeding Jalen the ball and running the zone.
Tried an onside kick, and Catholic had a shot at it, but it just took that funny little hop that footballs normally do.
Yeah, but it looked like a Catholic guy touched the ball. I'm not sure, but it looked to me like he did. Yeah. So
they did throw the flag. Yeah.
Yeah, they threw the flag. Here.
Well, they'll throw that if it goes out of bounds anyway. Won't they?
Yeah. Well, they had moved the ball back. That's an interesting call from Coach Miller over there for Western Hills guys, where they took the penalty on the ball out of bounds on the kickoff, and they're going to call it again. Or they're going to call illegal touching, I guess.
Well, I think if I'm him, I go ahead and take this field position. That might be some of the best field position they have tonight. The way things have started.
Right. That's actually a good point. I wouldn't pass that one up.
Especially since if you can score on Catholic, no matter how long the field is, you have to go.
Yeah, you got to take points any way you can. This is a district game. You got to get points
and give yourself some confidence. They turn. Nice. They give it off to the deep man. That is Jenkins, and he's going to get about 6 on the play.
And that's the thing, that can work to their advantage when you play an aggressive defense like Catholic normally plays. But as Coach noted earlier, they're kind of sitting back in some zone looks, so they're not just over pursuing and letting these motion and counter type looking plays beat them.
Yeah, it's kind of like a wing T look with the motions. They like to run jet sweep and so on. But one of the things against wing T you want to do is maybe sit your linebackers back and let them read.
Childress loses the ball in the snap, and see who's got the football.
Boy, that was a mess.
Unfortunately, that is almost common for them.
Upper endi. Yep.
They're going to say a simultaneous coverage. of the football there. We're so close here, we can hear the official as he gives the verbal as well.
And, unfortunately, I really enjoy watching them play. I think Don does a great job coaching these guys, and Childress, I think, is a really good player. But he's come into this game with a minimum of 8 fumbles already this season, and that's just way, way, way too many.
They raided on the zone read, and this is Childress following his guard there. That's Dylan Tackett, number 55, that he was following. That's pretty easy guy to follow.
Yeah, he's a great runner. He runs with good pad level.
I like what you and I talked early before the game, Donnie, about the handoff situation. Mm-hmm. He did ride him a long way on that, which is the right way to do it if you're running the zone read like that.
Right.
But, buddy, if you don't practice it and do it every day, you're going to run into problems with that.
Well, where he gets in trouble is not so much on stuff like that. It's when he gets the deep motion, I think, where you got to really try to time up a guy that's running at you full speed.
Childress right up the middle behind his center. Now he puts it on the ground again, and the ball is covered by Lexington Catholic. A nice run, and then he gives it up on the ground after getting hit from behind.
Yeah, he actually broke one tackle, and then he was hit from behind, reached behind, and knocked the ball out. You got to carry that ball up against your chest awful high and tight, especially when you break free.
Yeah, nose should always be pointed up for you young guys out there, and don't ever let it point out or down. It should always be pointed up.
Hey, everybody asked me how I came up with that. Listen to you guys.
I hate to harp on it, man, but here we had just talked about how they'll get in the red zone and shoot themselves in the foot, and here he breaks a big play, and they are talented. They can move the football. They can, they can score some points, but then they just shoot themselves in the foot.
Yep.
Fago now will have Jones right behind him in pistol formation. This is one of the tightest pistol formations of the tailback I've seen.
Well, they're just going to bump into one side or the other, so it's going to wind up being a normal set usually.
There he goes. In motion is Jones. Fago.
Why do
out
that?
To Jones, and then he gets tripped up in the backfield by that freshman you were talking about, Coach Walker and Robinson.
Yeah, it looked like when he got on that side and run his flare, they just went that way. Mm-hmm. They're going to run the ball against this formation.
I totally agree. You got 5 guys in the box.
A loss of 3. It'll be 2nd and 13. Fago back to pass. Across the middle is high. And the only guy that had a shot at it really
Seals.
So that's Thurman Seals and went off his hands.
Yeah, this is you get yourself in a hole doing this. But you got a 14-point lead. You can drive the length of the field, take up a lot
work
of the
some clock, right?
Yeah. And you need that practice when you're getting into district play.
Right.
Plus, when you get into the playoffs, I know we're right in first part of district play all across the area, but if you can sustain drives in the playoffs, that gets you to the next round.
Yeah.
Empty backfield. Fago back to throw. He'll loft it here down the left side. Here's a man wide open.
Nice
it's Hogabugo, and he is gone. You won't catch him.
That was a breakdown in coverage.
Yeah, big time.
Very open.
87 yards, and there was not a Western Hills Wolverine within 30 yards of him.
That looked to me, Coach, like they tried to play some cover 3 against an empty backfield. They had 5 receivers out in the route right there against the 3 deep coverage.
Right. When you release 5 receivers and your linebackers aren't in the picture at all, so that's somebody's going to be open. I think Fago did a good job of reading that and throwing it on time too.
Well, it's 20-0, and now Donovan Morris will try to tack on point number 21 with 6:46 to play in the opening quarter.
I truly am baffled about the defensive scheme right now for Western Hills, and I obviously Lexington Catholic can score, and maybe they were trying to work on some tendency breakers. Coach, you know how coaches get. They get very paranoid, and they don't want people to think that they always do one thing in one spot.
Right.
So, guys, now we're looking at a 3-touchdown lead for Lexington Catholic here in the first quarter, who so far through their first 6 games has gotten outscored 95, I think, to 40-something in their games so far this year. But right now they've got 21 on the board against Western Hills, and really Western Hills looks shell-shocked.
They do, and Catholic had a tough game last week, and they might have something to prove here, to be honest with you. But still, Donnie and I have fun doing this. We really enjoy looking at the defenses and the offenses, and we're not criticizing coaches when we talk like this. We're basically saying we're trying to figure out what their scheme is, what they're trying to do. Don Miller is a defensive mind. He had something in mind in running these defenses. Now, we'll see if he adjusts, and we'll see if Catholic adjusts. I like the freeze, Don, where they run the freeze and then call the play from the sideline.
Well, I almost wonder if he's more worried about the perimeter, But he's played, or when I say he, I'm talking about Western Hills has played some fairly quick athletic teams, and Frankfort High is known for running on the perimeter, and they were able to beat them.
This one comes down to Robinson at the 9. He angles up the left hash into a crowd of people and has stood up at about the 23, maybe the 24-yard line. And that's where Western Hills will start out. Of course, you mentioned Franklin County. They have a bevy of athletes, and Western Hills followed them right down to the end.
They did, and I actually did that game, and it was Western Hills had a lot of opportunities. It was very akin to what happened on that last drive. They had probably 3 or 4 of those against Franklin County, and but they were definitely in that game, had opportunity to win it all the way up to the end.
We get a whistle and a stoppage in play. It's going to be an official's timeout, and one of the linemen has to adjust his knee pads. I guess they were too high above the kneecap. Looks like he pulled them down. They turn. They give it off on the counter play in there, and I believe that's Robinson.
Yeah, that's something using the motion as a decoy and running the counter back. Again, Catholic, they do a really good job of holding the line of scrimmage. Usually those big guys in there will kind of stalemate those offensive linemen and let those linebackers make some tackles.
Linebacker was the first one there on the stop, guys, for Catholic.
And I like this. I like this scheme right now because typically a Catholic team's very aggressive, more man-oriented, and usually you can hit some big plays on them.
They give it up the middle to Jenkins. He's going to be straightened up. Cross for another 2 yards. That's going to be 3rd and 13 now as we move under 6 minutes to play here in the opening quarter.
Yeah, that tackle was by Kirk Fagot. Came in, or Jack Fagot came in from the edge area and just collapsed on it and made the tackle.
Childress scrambling to his right, in trouble. Inside the 5, will be dropped, but a flag comes in, and they're probably going to get a face mask there on the tackle, and that was Louderback again, who's been very active from his defensive spot there along that front for Catholic.
That's going to be very fortunate for Western Hills because that play had no chance from the get-go.
Yeah, it had no chance. He tried to reverse his field. That got him in trouble, but that actually is also got him the face mask. So.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a 5-yard face mask. And it'll be 3rd and the proverbial country mile.
Yep, 3rd in Woodford County.
So it'll be 3rd, and we'll say 23. Childress resets his back to his left now. 2 receivers to the left side. A wing back goes in motion. From right to left in the formation. Childress in trouble. And will be dropped at about the 6-yard line. So another negative play for Western Hills. And Western Hills right now, Coach Walker going backwards.
Yeah, there's, unless I missed something, it looked like that Catholic only brought 4 there. They showed some pressure off the edge, but then backed out of it, and I think they only brought 4 rushers that time, and they got through with very little resistance.
Well, a lot of times what happens, too, is offensive linemen are used to that, those other rushers coming in, and they kind of look for them, and when they're not there, they leave people open.
Yeah.
Thompson, Ogbugu back to receive for Catholic. Seth Pickard will get it out of there. It looks a wobbly kick. Comes here to the near side. Hits at the Western Hills 35, and then inexplicably, Brendez Fuller, who has taken a Western Hills bounce, just scoops it up like a shortstop.
He did, but he called fair catch. I mean, did he?
Well, I don't know. Maybe if he thought it was going to hit
that's what I thought.
A Catholic player or what.
I thought the Catholic guy was going to call fair catch, but he backed away.
Yeah, Thompson did and realized he couldn't get to it in time and hit the ground. It was going to take a pretty good Western Hills bounce, but
now
Fagot back to throw, rolls right, has plenty of space on the right side. He's inside the 35 to the 30, hits with the sticks, and probably going to get it right there at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, right at the 30, yeah.
And they just came right back out and did the same thing they did for the big touchdown play of the last series and went in an empty formation, ran some vertical routes, and then they dropped everybody that time. And Kirk did a great job of pulling the ball down and just take what the defense gives you.
They move Jones to the right. They give it off to him. He'll dance out here to the left side. Cuts it back inside to the 30. And it's dropped right there to 29.
I'm sorry, Derek.
That's all right.
He had the gap inside if he would have taken it. Sometimes we dance around a little too much, but this is what I want to see. I want to see them, Catholic, run the football against this team.
2 receivers to either side. Jones just to the left of Fago. They give it off to him straight up the middle at the 30, inside the 25 to about the 21-yard line. That'll be 1st and 10 Catholic at the Wolverine 21-yard line. And when you outsize somebody, Coach, why not go ahead and just pound them with the run game?
Well, I agree, especially when you're ahead by 3 touchdowns. The thing is, you just got to put the pressure on them.
They go trips to the right side. They give it on the screen.
What in the world?
And that was
the fast screen out there to Donnie Morris, which they've been really, really effective with all year long, and hit a nice one early in the game, and he just didn't look it all the way in.
He didn't. Had a nice block out there by the inside man.
But you see, the one thing those screens do is you watch the defensive tackle for Western Hills have to come all the way back into the middle, to the opposite hash where he had to chase that screen down. Even though they're down 3 touchdowns, Lexington Catholic is wearing those big boys out by making them run sideline to sideline.
Well, isn't it one of your quotes, screen off and screen early, screen early, screen often, I mean?
Fago turns, gives it off to Jones right up the middle. Has 8 yards, maybe 9, as he drug a couple of tacklers with him inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, the secondary are making the tackles on that one. Number 1, Jenkins came up to make the tackle.
They turn, they give it off again to him. Actually, no, it's Fago that carries it, and he'll get the first down just inside the 10-yard line.
Okay.
And Elder on the stop for Western Hills.
I like this Elder guy. I've watched him several times. He makes good tackles. He's a senior, 6 foot, 190 pounds, and he's got good size, and he makes good tackles in there.
And he's physical too. Now he'll lay the wood.
Same formation for Catholic. Twins to both sides. They turn. Fago lofts it in the near side of the end zone, and a jump ball, and a nice job defensively by Western Hills over that's Jalen Youngblood, who got a hand in there to knock it away.
Yeah, they're trying to do the old University of Kentucky fade route that won the game for them, actually.
You got to have a 2-car garage to do that one, though. You got to have that 235-pound frame so nobody can get around you. They turn. They give it off. Running left is Jones at the 5. Knocked down. It's about the 1, and we get a flag at the point of attack, and it looks like it might be in the area of holding.
Yeah, it was more like a tackle.
Okay.
The guy couldn't get out there at all.
I tell you what, you notice that Western Hills is well versed in tackling because they square you up. They don't really just reach. They try to square you up, and with Jones being as big as he is, the littler guys have learned go low.
Yeah.
It's funny too. It's really, really good. These coaches now have been trained on correct methods of tackling and correct, actually, every phase of the game, blocking and tackling.
It was illegal use of hands was the call. Fago on the screen. Jones, nobody there for Western Hills except one guy, and he's going to actually come up and make a pretty good tackle. Jones still not down. He goes in for the touchdown. Nope, they're going to mark him at just inside the 1.
Where's your help? Where's your help?
Thurman Seals did a great job. I mean, he basically split a double team right there. He was the only guy that was left in Jalen's way to score a touchdown and did a nice job. There's no quit in him and was able to hang on long enough to get him down.
Well, yeah, Donnie, he hung on long enough to get him down, but where's his help? Where's his teammates? There should have been 4 people on that thing.
Looked like Western Hills just kind of stopped like they expected the whistle. They turn, give it off to Jones, and he's going to be in for the touchdown.
That's a big boy out there, too.
Well, it was a really good play call, I thought, by Coach Cantrell, the offensive coordinator there at Lexington Catholic, because they showed blitz. They had both guys coming off the edge. They brought those 4 defensive linemen as hard as they could come up the field, too, and then they threw the screen in behind. So there wasn't a whole lot of help in the back to begin with. Right. And then and they did it, I think, out of a 3-by-1 set and ran it over to the single receiver side. So it was a really nice design, and then it was a perfect play call for that time.
When I was working at Lexington Christian, we used Dominic Hayden a lot that way, running screens, little flare screens and so on the goal line.
Moore still flirting with that right upright. He gets it just inside the right upright. He's 4 for 4 that way.
Well, and you know, Jalen's a little different running back than Dominique was, but you know, he that was one of the greatest things about getting Dominique, and even Jalen too. If you could get him out on the edge where you've got him on some smaller people, you're going to win those battles 9 times out of 10.
Right, and that was the whole key.
You know, we were talking a minute ago. You mentioned Coach Walker that Seal split that double team. He was the only defender out there and got to it. And I was always taught as a young player, grab hold of whatever you can and hang on. Help's coming.
He did, and he finally got. And I think there was only one other defender that came to help, but they were able to get him down, and you know that was a good positive out of a play that hasn't, or a game that hasn't really been going their way.
Help came by Pony Express.
Right.
Rios to kick off again here in the first quarter. Again, we have Youngblood here to the near side and Robinson to the far side. And Rios is going to try Youngblood this time. It comes down at the 13. Youngblood up the middle. And we'll get it out to about the 34-yard line of Western Hills.
That was a really nice wedge they set up right there. They were all on the same plane, got in there nice and tight, and busted that open and gave Youngblood a nice little seam to pick up a good gain.
Now, coaches, how hard is it to teach young return men how to be patient and allow their wedges and blocking schemes to line themselves properly?
Well, I don't think the hard part is to keep them from dancing.
Yeah.
You know, when you run kickoffs back, the one thing I always taught my kickoff returners, you got one cut. Man.
Right.
I'm going to give you one. If you
Cut.
take more than one,
right,
you're going to be running after practice.
There you go.
One cut, accelerate.
And I'm sure Coach the same way as me. A cut's different than a juke.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to make that one quick move.
Right. And you're still moving forward. You just make one cut inside, outside, and you're gone.
Well, Childress keeps it himself and gets 2 across the 35 to the 36-yard line.
Western Hills has got to put something together here offensively, and they have been able to move the ball, at least on the last drive, but they've got to put something together here offensively and stop the bleeding.
And just for, if nothing else, just for their self-confidence. Childress with the running back to his right, back to throw, a crossing route, and threw it just a little bit behind his receiver. And that was 23 Trevor James, and James tried to reach back with one hand, but he should have geared it down a little bit and reached back with both.
Yeah, I mean, you always teach them to use 2 hands, you know, regardless. Always try to catch the ball with 2 hands, and you always have to look it all the way in. You know, you can't expect to get hit. You can't be looking for the big gain. You can't be looking for the end zone. You got to catch the ball first.
Did you see the inside receiver on that play? Were they running a smash route?
I didn't see it. I was watching the protection because he's, you know, that's one of the cleanest pockets he's had so far tonight.
Looked like James may have delayed coming off the line of scrimmage as the outside receiver. Low snap, Childress has it, in trouble. Comes out here to the right side, looking downfield, through into coverage, and it was knocked away by number 43.
Yeah,
Austin Perdochi.
That just looked like 4 verticals, and the outside receiver on this side kind of pulled it off into a curl route.
Right.
But again, I just don't think you're going to beat Catholic throwing it deep like that.
Well, personally, if you're going to get pressure when you're only rush 3, you're probably not going to get very far anyway.
Right. Now, they might come back and run a screen or a draw against that type of pressure.
Hickey deep in solo safety this time for the Knights. Awaiting the 4th punt of the night for Pickard. He looked ahead. He thought about it. He shanked this one. And it'll come out of bounds here on the near side, and this one's not going to be pretty.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's and he's usually very, very solid. You know,
wow.
I've seen him. This is his 3rd game, and I've seen some on film, and he's been one of their more consistent players. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, you know, when you start talking about punters. But I'm serious. They can be a real weapon, and he was a real weapon for them in their win over Frankfort High, which is a huge rivalry game for them. And that's really uncharacteristic of the way he plays.
But I tell you what happened was, and I've seen this before, he got no rush.
Yeah,
he looked to run the ball first. He looked down the field before he tried to punt it. He took his eye off the ball.
3-yard punt. It's at the 39 of Western Hills. They give it off to the running back. Trying to get outside, and a nice job of stringing it out by the outside guy out there, the cornerback. That was Robinson, that freshman you talked about, Coach Walker, in pregame. And
He is quick.
And they came back. They're bringing the power back in now. They're going to bring Jones back in after Balsarite got the one carry there on first down.
Well, with the month of October, you have Keeneland, and of course the Breeders' Cup at the end of the month. So why not bring the thoroughbred in, right?
Well, maybe not. I think he may have a helmet issue.
Yeah. So they bring back in.
I think he took it off after he got out there to try to fix something, and they made him come back out.
As soon as your helmet comes off in high school.
We'll be back to throw. Looking deep. He has a receiver out there, and just off the hands of Thompson.
Andy Thompson usually makes that catch. You know, he's got really sure hands. And in fact, in the last few years, Lexington Catholic has developed some really good receivers. One of the best I saw is gone now. He went with his dad down there to wherever Coach Fire, or not Coach Fire, the latest one?
Yeah, he's down at Walton High School. Are you talking about Bill Letton?
Bill Letton, yeah.
Yeah, his
Sammy.
His son's getting a lot of looks.
We'll look out here right now. Throws back left. And Ogugu gets away. That's actually Morris that gets away down the right sideline. Gets inside the 15, inside the 10. And will be knocked out of bounds somewhere inside the 5. They're going to give him the 4.
Lasso 41 solid, Coach. That's the name of that play right there.
Yep, that's it. And there was a defensive player there ready to make a tackle. He just missed him. He had a little move on him.
Well, you teach those guys to attack the ball and keep coming inside where your blocking is. You don't teach them to stop and spin and go back outside for that very reason. And he got away with it.
Yeah.
It looked like Seals out there that missed that tackle. They give it off to Jones, and will sprint into the right side. Just goes in untouched.
I like that read. That was a really good job by the running back that time. That's Darren. You were talking about patience. That was a good example right there.
Well, I'll tell you, to me, the difference in that run and some of the runs he's had earlier is he dipped his toe down in there. He pressed the heels of the lineman and helped set some blocks up. He drew some defenders in and set those blocks up for the offensive lineman. Then he was able to bounce it outside. When you take that ball more laterally and you're deeper in the backfield, you can't really help set those guys up that way.
Got a new kicker in for Catholic. Looks to be number 99. And I don't have him on the roster I have here.
We may get a lot of that
maybe
here before long.
The kick is good, and it's 43.3 seconds to play in the first quarter. It's Lexington Catholic 35, Western Hills nothing. Back with more here on PrepSpin.com.
Kentucky is more than just its name, and so are we. You might not know us, but you've seen us all around our beautiful state, from the farmer growing his business to the parents growing their family. We're not confined to a campus or a city. We're people helping people, Kentuckians united together. You might not know our name, but we're ready to learn yours. University of Kentucky Federal Credit Union. Banking only better.
Trying to identify the kicker on that last one. That was Go for Catholic, wearing number 90. This one down to Youngblood at the 5, and he's going to be swarmed under at about the 12-yard line.
As well as they set the wall up the last kickoff, they didn't that time. They went just the complete opposite.
Well, it looked like they were trying to get it up the middle again, and Youngblood decided to take it to the left side, maybe missed the wall altogether. But
that frustrates your blockers, Dan. It really does, because you have to know where that, at least have a good feeling about where that return man is behind you.
And it's a very thankless job. Nobody notices it, and all they watch is the guy that's running the football until you get in the film room.
So Childress will have 2 receivers to the right side. They give it off on the wingback sweep here, and that's
Robinson there.
Robinson, boy, he just, that's designed to come outside, but he found something inside a little bit, and then stuck his nose up in there.
If he can break free, I hope he can get a couple plays tonight just to prove to you guys that he is a dynamic player. He truly is. I hope he can get out in the open at least once tonight.
Catholic is still in that zone defense. They're just sitting back.
I think Western Hills is going to let the clock run out and take it to the second quarter.
I'd want to be done with this first quarter, too, if I was them.
It's one of those quarters where Lexington Catholic came out, and I had questions coming up here, which Catholic team would show up. Would it be the one that played Madison Central 2 weeks ago, or would it be the one that played at Cooper a week ago? We have our answer.
Yeah, they're definitely – this is one of the more efficient games I've seen them play this year.
We'll be back with the second quarter of action, 35-0, Lexington Catholic after 1 here in Lexington on PrepSpin.com. Back to Lexington Catholic, second quarter action. Empty backfield behind Childress. Has his receiver out here on the out route. That's Robinson who bobbled it. And it's going to be dropped right at about the first down marker at the 24-yard line.
That's the second. I think that's the second flat type route we've seen where Childress has been accurate. He's got kind of a funky throwing motion, but he's accurate. And the receivers have bobbled the ball. I think that's a lost art, guys. I don't know that guys coach, or I'm not saying coach it, but I don't think guys work on catching and receiving the ball with their hands and not letting it get into their body.
They watch too much pro football.
No huddle.
Look at those guys making one-handed
for Western. But they also spend a whole lot of money on those fines, too, when they do stuff that they're not supposed to. They fake it on the jet sweep to Robinson, and then Childress on the keep. Going to be knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Tonight's broadcast high-definition video presented by White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics, Kentucky Sports Medicine, Collins Bowling Centers, Eastland and Southland, Lexington Clinic, Traditional Bank, along with Roberts Insurance, All Sports in the Fayette Mall, Robbie Davis Ziga, and nightvision.net. So that's all our fine sponsors. They're going to call a hold? Is that what they got, guys?
No, they call a chop block.
Okay.
And, Catholic was not fooled whatsoever on that counter play because they ran the old counter tray. They pulled the guard and the tackle and came back around, and nobody was fooled. And I don't think it was on purpose. I don't think the chop block was on purpose. You got two guys pulling, and they all kind of fell into a pile. And I think one guy was holding a defender up, and another guy just kind of fell into him. I don't think it was malicious or intentional at all.
No, but it's a call you have to make.
Right, exactly.
It's
it's dangerous. It is for sure.
So we back it up 5 yards. It'll be 1st and 23 from the 11-yard line of Western Hills. The Wolverines have it. Childress rolls right. Cuts upfield, gets it over the 15 to about the 18-yard line.
Again, big mistake on the down before that, and they're in the hole. So.
Right.
Hey, I tell you guys, is this amazing? We're sitting up here above this field watching a football game. We got an HD monitor in front of us. This PrepSpin stuff's amazing. William Warfield does a heck of a job with this.
I don't see how he does it because he's not getting any sleep right now.
No, he's got a new baby, beautiful little girl.
Very limited. I was actually texting him at about 3 o'clock in the morning when that was happening. Childress keeps it again right up the middle this time. Gets short of the 20-yard line. Give him 2. It'll be 3rd and another long situation. 3rd and about 14 for the Wolverines.
And this is not what their offense is built to do, is it, Coach?
No, they really want to keep the ball moving down the field, make those first downs, have 3rd and shorts if they can, but these 3rds and 15s and 14s.
Childress on the seam route to Robinson, catches it in stride and avoids Hickey, and Hickey just able to grab a foot and drop him at about the 45-yard line, the best play of the ball game for Western Hills. And Robinson, that's a tough route because there's a safety hanging out there somewhere for anybody, but especially a freshman.
He actually ran a really good route. That was a disciplined route, as you said, for a freshman. And, credit Childress for hitting that. That's a small target to hit out there, too, 15, 20 yards down the field.
I was just going to say I like that throw because he didn't wait too long for it. He zipped it right by that linebacker's head.
They fake it to Robinson. This is Childress up the middle.
That's
gets
a good
hit at the
first
50.
down play.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what they want right there. Absolutely.
And that's what, if you can get that kid the ball out in space and make them have to respect him, that's what that does for you. Now it opens up that inside run game for your quarterback or even your running back if you want to. But you have to do some things to get him the ball out in space because I seriously think he's probably their most dynamic player in space. And running it with him in between the tackles is not his strong suit.
Well, I expect Lexington Catholic to start getting a little bit more aggressive here now.
We're right at the midfield stripe. Childress thrown and tipped by a linebacker in the middle of the field there for Catholic. So it could be 54.
Fortunately for Catholic, it was tipped.
Yeah.
That could have been intercepted.
Well, Trevor James was wide open too.
Yeah.
That ball's just a couple inches higher, and that's another first down for Western Hills. Instead, they're forced to try to convert another third down, but it is a manageable third down this time.
Right, and again, those receivers just need to find that window, that throwing lane to the quarterback. Sometimes they sit in a route that's too disciplined instead of moving right or left a little bit so the quarterback can see them.
They bring Robinson in motion. Childress fakes it to him and then keeps it. It gets stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Actually, they're going to give him a loss of a yard there.
It's been tough sledding up the middle against this defense tonight. I really think that if they want to try to move the ball a little bit more, they're going to have to try to get some stuff done on the perimeter.
Well, they bring James over here along with Fuller. Fuller will be the widest of the three. And Robinson.
And I'm fine with this call. I mean, what do you got to lose right now? You're down 35-0 with 8.5 minutes to go in the first half. You got nothing to lose at this point.
No, you might as well try some of your offense.
They're going to call a timeout here.
Well,
Coach, we got some games other than tonight going on here.
Right.
The one that Coach Meehan probably want to talk about is LCA at Middlesboro. Boy, what a long trip.
Yeah, that's
for the Eagles.
That's a monster, and I tell you what, it's hard to go down there and win football games too. It really
no matter
is.
what Middlesboro's record is at the season.
It's tough.
Well, and they won last year. I think it was a fairly close game. They beat Middlesboro last year at home, and now they have to take the long trip, as you said. And they're kind of struggling a little bit right now. LCA is. They're kind of struggling just a little bit right now. They're going to have to figure out how to right the ship and win some district games.
Yeah, Ethan Ashley, the coach, has done a really good job, I think, though, of kind of trying to turn that program back in the direction they want it to go.
Got an intriguing matchup here in Lexington. Another one will catch your eye, Coach Meehan. You've been at both schools. Dunbar is at Bryan Station.
Yeah, Bryan Station's loaded this year. Their problem is they just have too many penalties, a lot of them. And Dunbar, I'll tell you a little secret about Dunbar. They lost the first couple games, the first 2 or 3 games. He switched offenses completely.
Well, they've won 3 in a row. They started out the season 0-3 and won 3 in a row.
But he made a huge mistake, he said, with his talent, what he was trying to run, and he switched, and he's done a really good job. I could give you some statistics of this game, but the computer with the statistics isn't working.
Yeah. Childress back to throw. Across the middle, he has a man open. That is Justin Jenkins, and a first down for Western Hills at the Lexington Catholic 35. That one had some zip on it.
It did. He's got a big windup, and like I said, he's not inaccurate with the football. And if you give him a chance to throw it, he's got some targets. He's got some guys that can do something with it.
Did you notice how Jenkins, when he caught that ball, when he turned, he had both arms around that football? He said, "Oh no, I'm not going to drop it."
That one thumped on the abdomen of Jenkins.
I like that.
They turned, gave it off. Actually, that's Childress, the quarterback again up the middle. He'll get maybe 6 inches, so we'll give him no gain. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the Catholic 35-yard line.
Middleton just destroyed the offensive blocker to make that tackle. Nice job. I like the way Lexington Catholic's down people are playing right now.
Make it more of a tight formation with 2 wingbacks to either side. Fuller, the wide out here to the near side, the short side. They turn, give it off to Jenkins. Spins. Actually, is that Youngblood or Jenkins? That's Jenkins.
That's Jenkins. That was a nice run there. That's a better long yard or first, second down run right there. And again, you had the Robinson kid make a huge play here just a few plays ago, and now that motion is starting to take its toll on Lexington Catholic. They're starting to pay a little bit more attention to it right now.
Gain of 7. It'll be short 3rd and 3. This is actually the shortest third down.
The player in the 5 technique had to make that tackle, and he made it 5 yards down the field.
They turn, give it off to Jenkins again off the right side this time. He'll battle inside the 25, and looks like he might. They're going to actually give him like 26, it looks like, Coach. Maybe a little bit short there.
Maybe a little bit short of the first down,
Yeah, looks like it's 4th and short.
They really need this first down. And Catholic, a real confidence booster for Lexington Catholic's defense if they could stop them here too.
But you got, if you're Coach Don Miller, you got to like what you're seeing out of your offense right now.
You got to like what you're seeing out of your team right now, that
Yeah.
they've not quit. You know, this game got out of hand real quick early, but they're still plugging away.
Big number 3's in the
Yep.
backfield, Darren. You see that?
Caden Yett.
What's his size?
I don't have it here. I'm
270
saying
or
that's
something.
got to be like 230, 235 at least.
Oh, he's, okay, I've got it right here.
There you go.
He is, oh my goodness.
If they don't get a delay,
235, 5'9".
Pretty good guess there for me.
Pretty good guess.
Childress will follow him in the hole, and he gets blasted at the 25, but he held on to the football and he got the first down though. But boy, he got hit.
That was that was a good job on defense of stuffing that.
Didn't see who gave that. Was that Louderback again? Number 37, was that him again?
He flew up.
Was Eli Mitchell? Okay.
Eli Mitchell hit him.
Wow. That's
came
one you
in
get
like
him
a
check
shot.
check your feelings.
Yeah.
We got a penalty here? What's
No, they got a
No,
measurement
they got
here.
a
He's going to be close. He needed the 25 or just on the.
I thought he actually crossed the 25.
Yeah, I did too, but maybe he tried some second effort there and it came up a little bit shy of where we all thought he got. But boy, man,
I still think he got it first down.
Mitchell looked like he'd been shot out of a cannon, and Childress got the first down by the nose of the football.
They needed that one. That was
Wow.
like chain link.
Yeah, you would say he actually got it by the grass that was on the end of that football, but this is that sports turf that it seems like a lot of people are going to. Guys, well, we have a second real quick. Coach Walker, you played on natural surface more parts. A lot of teams going to it in this area, and it has cut down a lot of really severe injuries. There still are happening, but they're not as bad as they would be on natural surfaces.
Thing is you have so many more sports and so many more people have to practice and so many more people need the space and it's a lot less maintenance in the long run and it's a lot better when it rains. So there's a lot of benefit. Expensive, but there's a lot of benefit.
Childress still on his feet inside the 25. Give him a couple down to the 23-yard line. As I mentioned in the pregame, guys, we got a lot of district showdowns starting to happen this week, and not only here at Lexington Catholic, we've got some across the area as far as Lexington is concerned.
I tell you what I do like about this drive right now with Western Hills is they're using some clock. I know that they don't really need to. They need to score some points, but I think right now doing both is beneficial, proving that they can actually do this.
Oh boy!
And we get as soon as I start to brag on them, right?
You did. I'm gonna see if I can grab somebody real quick to fix this monitor.
Okay. We also have some games going on. I mean, that just outside of Lexington that are pretty good. I know you're probably interested in the one down there in Taylorsville tonight.
Well,
being a former player and coach down there.
Well,
Franklin and Spencer. Spencer's pretty good at home.
Yeah. Spencer County's been scoring a lot of points this year. I think they're one of the top scoring teams in the state, if not the top scoring team in the state.
Childress back to throw, scrambles up the middle, has a seam, dances off to the left side and back inside the 20. Maybe down to the 18-yard line.
Very fortunate he held on to that ball. He let that get away from his body and reached up over top of a would-be tackler and was able to get through there with the ball.
Kind of looked like Randall Cunningham with that thing flying out there in that
It's funny,
lone hand.
Donnie. When you're coaching players, you don't really want to. If your team are having trouble dropping the football, holding on, you don't want to point people out and say you're fumbling. You got to do something. You got to drill that.
Right.
They give it off to Jenkins. Gets it down near the 15-yard line. Might be just a little bit shy of it.
Drills are really important to have people touching that ball all the time and bumping it and holding it. But the big thing is you can't take away their confidence by saying, "Hey, you got a fumble problem, son."
No, you just have to keep reinforcing the positives. But you have to hammer home all the fundamentals all the time. You can't allow it to happen. You can't allow them to have bad fundamentals on one rep in practice, or this is what you get in a game. So, and I'm not saying that's happening. Again, like you said, we're not calling out coaches here. We're just talking about how we've coached and the way things are with kids these days.
Childress back to throw and throws it shy of Youngblood as Henry Clay on 4th and short brought pressure from the edge, and Childress just underthrew his receiver, Youngblood, who ran a pretty good route just
had a quick little out route right there. Childress just never got his feet set, so he was throwing that ball while he was fading back, and you know you're not going to get as much zip on the ball anytime you do that.
When he realized that he wasn't going to be able to make that throw accurately, he should have pumped him and let him take off on him and throw it down into the corner.
So Catholic takes over on downs. Fago back to throw. He has Morris deep on the streak rat right off his fingertips. And, boy, you couldn't have thrown it any better than Fago did. Right on the fingertips of Morris and kind of short-armed him a little bit.
And that's great timing. And you know, I know the score is way out of whack right now, but you know you still can't let a guy go down the middle of the field and be open past your safeties like that. Because he had two guys, he had beat two defenders deep right there, and the ball was right on his fingertips. You can't throw that ball better timing and better spot.
2nd and 10 for Catholic from their own 16-yard line. Fago will check with the sideline to change the play.
We had a receiver miss the play over here.
Turns, gives it off to Jones, brings it over here to the right side, and a nice open field tackle. And that's that guy again, Robinson.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing defensively, too. He's just so quick getting up there. Safety for Western Hills was back. He was back at about 15 yards, and then he backed up before the ball was snapped back to 20, 25 yards. He's getting a little bit afraid now of the deep pass.
That's Seals coming up at halftime. We'll have some stats probably with this ball game, along with the unheralded football overachievers. Coach, you impressed? I remember that?
I am extremely impressed.
The UFOs with Coach Mike Meehan here at halftime. Fago almost stumbles over the 11-yard line. Throws deep here for Morris, and it's out of bounds. And it'll be 4th and 8 for Lexington Catholic coming up. And this will be, actually, it's 4th and 8 from their own 18-yard line. And for the first time tonight, Lexington Catholic will punt.
Coach, do you notice what Western Hills has done defensively here? They went back to their odd front that time.
Yeah, they're back away from their 4-4 look that they started the game with. But again, you know, I'm wanting to see Catholic work a little bit on their under routes, you know, their dig route and so on against that safety. Get underneath him, throw him the ball in there.
This is a punt, and off the side of the punter's foot for Catholic, and drops at the 42-yard line. That's where Western Hills will take over 1st and 10 from the Knights' 42-yard line. That's the first best starting position for the Wolverines all night.
Well, and you know, going back to your point, Coach, sometimes when you get in these games, and it didn't look like Morris was going full speed up the sideline like he was expecting that deep ball, but you know how it is. Sometimes you get in these games like this where you've basically had your own way. You get a little greedy sometimes as a kid, and even sometimes as a play caller, and you just, you know, you think you can just go do whatever you want to, and instead of going through progression, doing things the way you were coached to do, and come off and throw the underneath stuff and just move the chains.
Childress rolls right, looking down the field, has a man in the middle, and hits him right at the 35-yard line of the Knights. That's, again, Wandale Robinson.
Robinson did that little curl out and then back in that time. He ran a little curl route, went out 2 steps, and then came back in and looked for look for the lane to the quarterback. Get the quarterback's eyes.
You notice I've noticed a trend, too, at every level of high school, small college, as well as the higher levels of college. A lot of these smaller receivers aren't afraid to come across the middle. It's Robinson again going around the right side, dropped at about 23.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. They really had that set up, and then they came off their block. I don't know who it was, but I think it might have been Jenkins, the lead back. He had the edge protected, and then he just let him go inexplicably right at the last second, and forced that play to be to be dead right there at the spot.
Yeah, you're going to have to hold your blocks against this Catholic defense. Coach Perry and his crew, his defensive coordinators, they work really hard on, when they recognize the play, getting off the blocks and getting to the ball.
Mm-hmm. No gain for Robinson. It'll be 3rd and 4, a long 4 for Western Hills. We go to a minute to play in the first half. Childress dancing in the hole, and he'll get inside the 35. Actually going to get right back to the line of scrimmage, so it'll be 4th and 4 for Western Hills.
They locked on man-to-man all the way across the field, Donnie, and linebacker was running man. Everybody was in man. if there would have been a little crack, the quarterback could have gone a long way on that play.
Well, when he made up his mind to pull it down and run, Coach Walker, should he have gone ahead and just tucked it and ran? But he got up in there and amongst all the bodies and decided to dance a little.
It's hard to say because I don't, the good ones will still have their eyes kind of downfield, and if he did, then I applaud him for trying to still make something out of the play and save the play and try to get the first down. If he had his eyes down, then yes, you're absolutely right. He doesn't need to dance; he needs to go. So it's hard to say exactly in that situation, but man,
legal procedure on Western Hills, and it had to be on one of the wideouts here on the far side. Didn't see anybody in the interior move. So 27 seconds, clock running. Lexington Catholic on top of this one, 35-0. Childress back to throw on 4th down. They throw the screen to
that's Jenkins.
And Jenkins is going to be dropped.
Let it develop. Yeah. Let it develop. Let the defensive line come in. Right. Drop a little further back.
Exactly.
Backpedal a little bit.
Looked like one of the defensive ends for Lexington Catholic actually recognized what was coming and gave up his rush lane and got right in the middle of that one.
Well, and Coach is exactly right. The quarterback helps set that up as much as anybody. The offensive line has to sell a pass protection scheme. They have to drop back and show their hands before they get out. But the quarterback has to see the rush and feel it and really invite those guys up the field, and then at the very last second he wants to get rid of the ball. And that's when that play actually works the best.
Fago asks for the ball, gets it. They're going to run the sweep here to Obugu. He's going to cut it up inside of a nice block.
Nice cut.
Yeah, nice cut and a nice block. He got a good lead block from Donovan Morris, one of the wideouts, and had a lineman out there in front of him as well. Woodford Langford, 6'4", 270-pound junior.
That's nice to run behind. And the good thing that he did right there, Obugu, is he stuck his foot in the ground. When he saw a hole, he stuck his foot in the ground and he went. He didn't dance around it. He didn't juke. He didn't cut. He just stuck his foot in the ground and he went. And he got the added yardage that he wouldn't have had otherwise and had an opportunity to spring it.
35-0 Lexington Catholic at halftime. We'll have Coach Mike Meehan and his UFOs here with us in the booth in just a short bit. It's 35-0 Lexington Catholic on top of Western Hills here at the break on PrepSpin.com.
Kentucky is more than just its name, and so are we. You might not know us, but you've seen us all around our beautiful state, from the farmer growing his business to the parents growing their family. We're not confined to a campus or a city. We're people helping people, Kentuckians united together. You might not know our name, but we're ready to learn yours. University of Kentucky Federal Credit Union. Banking, only better.
Folks, this is Gary Ball, and you hear my catchphrase, soup and a sandwich. When I want the best potato soup and prime rib sandwich, I head over to Rafferty's Restaurants after my games. Check out Rafferty's 9 great locations throughout Kentucky, and all you teens, you can eat at Rafferty's before those big ball games. The open prime rib sandwich is what legends are made of. Ask Joe B. Hall, the legend himself, it's his favorite. Rafferty's a big supporter of high school sports throughout Kentucky. Rafferty's, where the special is you.
What if you could do all your banking without ever having to run to your bank? What if you could do your banking from any stadium or city in the country? It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. With traditional banks, online and mobile banking, it couldn't be more simple. My life moves pretty fast, and Traditional Bank's team protects me while I do what I do best, at home or away. Way to go, Traditional Bank. You scored again. Traditional Bank's online and mobile banking. Winners at home and on the road.
Traditional Bank.
Mike Meehan here, back at the Lexington Catholic High School, Joseph K. Ford Stadium, here on the beautiful campus of Lexington Catholic. And the score at halftime, Lexington Catholic dominating this game 35-0 over Western Hills High School. Well, it's time to do our traditional, what we do every week, our UFOs. Just a little background, the UFO stands for Unheralded Football Overachiever. And what happened was, years ago, we decided that there are a lot of people involved in these programs who don't get a lot of recognition for what they do. And we've gone through many, many things. We've gone through boosters, we've gone through players, we've had managers and trainers, and we've had film people and so on. Well, today we have two really good ones. We're going to start with Lexington Catholic, and I'm really happy to be sitting here next to Dana Baston. Dana was a little reluctant at coming on. When I talked to her on the phone, Coach Perry gave me some information on her, and the last thing that Dana said to me was, "I'm gonna kill Coach Perry." So I think she deserves a little credit, but we're gonna let her talk a little bit about what she does. First of all, from Coach Perry. Coach Perry said she does a lot behind the scenes for the football program, has a lot of effort, does so many things that doesn't get a lot of credit. So he was really, really proud and really happy to mention her as his unheralded football overachiever. So rather than me going by what Coach Perry said, and I promised you, let's talk a little bit, first of all, about your background. Where did you come from before here, and how did you get involved with the Knights?
Okay. I'm originally from Lexington, went to Lafayette High School, and I met Coach Perry at UK when I was a football manager for the University of Kentucky.
Oh, who was the coach over there at Kentucky at that time?
I worked with Coach Mummy and Coach Morris.
Oh, so you worked with two of the coaches. You got
Yes,
a little
sir.
background. So you know Coach Perry pretty well. Good man, really
Yes, sir.
good man, a really organized person. Tell me a little bit about what you do here.
During practice during the week, I film different drills. I help with equipment issues, clothing, administrative tasks, pretty much anything that coaches or players need.
Let me ask you something. Let's go back a little bit. When did you get interested in football?
I worked for the field house at UK when I was in college just as a student worker, and just kind of fell into the manager's job with Tom Kalinowski at UK and really got involved then.
There's a character right there.
Yes.
You got to work with a real character, but he's famous for what he did too.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, little known. I played at UK many years ago, and the equipment manager then was a guy named Buster Brown, and he was as mean as a snake. I'll tell you what, he really was. But that's neither here nor there. So, okay, now it's game time. This is Friday night, big time, lights shining, team all excited. What is your job now here?
During the games, I manage the sideline, so I help with any equipment issues, helmets breaking, try to help keep the players back behind the line so we don't get any penalties or warnings, and film if our students that help us film can't film.
Okay, now that's really important because with a lot of stress right now on safety and so on, having those helmets in the right shape and so on, I mean, that's really important here for the Knights and for any high school football team.
It is. Safety is very important, and the coaches here take that very seriously. So we want to make sure the air stays in the helmets, as well as, face masks are tightened and properly fitting them all the way around.
Well, I tell you what, I'm really impressed with that. He also said you did some sewing or something. What was that all about?
Yes, well, when Jalen Jones got injured, he wasn't able to flip up the armbands for the play calls. So with him and both Andy Thompson playing quarterback and wide receiver, I've had to kind of riggy-jig some bands for them.
Oh, my goodness gracious. You're doing some on-the-spot negotiating with equipment like that. That's pretty cool.
Yes,
That's
sir.
pretty good. Well, listen, I want to tell you real quickly that Coach Perry, he spoke highly of you, and he really does, and you do a really good job, and that's one of the important things. You fill a role for this Knights football team that's really important. I just want to congratulate you on that, and congratulate you for being the Lexington Catholic Knights UFO this year, so you can go home and brag to people that you're a UFO.
Well, I appreciate that. This is a great organization to work for. The coaches are wonderful, and the players, it's exciting to see them develop into great young men.
Well, I appreciate you talking to us, and we'll go to break right now. We'll take a quick break here at Lexington Catholic. Again, they're ahead 35-0 at halftime, and we'll come back with our second UFO from Western Hills.
Thank you for tuning in to tonight's ball game. Lexington Catholic hopes to pave the way for the future of high school sports broadcasting through this exciting new digital network. If you would like to get your business into the game as a Night Vision sponsor, please contact Delane Thiel at 277-7183 extension 253 or dthiel@lexingtoncatholic.com. Go Knights!
Folks, this is Gary Ball, and you hear my catchphrase, soup and a sandwich. When I want the best potato soup and prime rib sandwich, I head over to Rafferty's restaurants after my games. Check out Rafferty's 9 great locations throughout Kentucky, and all you teens, you can eat at Rafferty's before those big ball games. The open prime rib sandwich is what legends are made of. Ask Joe B. Hall, the legend himself, it's his favorite. Rafferty's a big supporter of high school sports throughout Kentucky. Rafferty's, where the special is you.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter, locally owned and operated since 1972.
Welcome back to Joseph K. Ford Stadium. We just had a really nice talk with Dana Baston, who was the UFO, the unheralded football overachiever for Lexington Catholic. Now let's go on to Western Hills. First of all, Corey, we're going to talk a little bit. About Corey Miracle, who is the UFO for Western Hills, the unheralded football overachiever. But to do this, rather than obviously he's a player on the team, we couldn't talk to him personally. We got up here assistant coach Sean Wilkins. Sean, from what I hear, is he coaches centers, does a lot of special team works, long snappers, and so on. And Sean, you've known Corey let's do this first. Personally, you've known him for a long time.
Yes, I was his first coach in basketball when he was 4 years old. I used to joke with him, he was my little miracle. He was, full of energy. He was just a joy to coach. His whole family was so supportive of everything he did, but that contagious little smile at 4 years old, that just kind of melted my heart, because I fell into coaching that team because they didn't have a coach, and the YMCA just asked me to coach them, and I tell you what, it was the best thing I ever did.
That's a good story on your part. And then you got involved in football and then came over to coach with Coach Miller at Western Hills?
Yeah, I started coaching in 1989 at Franklin County, and I kind of graduated through the years, took a little break here and there, but I'd come back to the west side because I married a young lady from the west side, and I didn't really think about it till I got closer to high school. And my youngest son was a very talented football player, and I kind of followed him and helped him along, and then I beat him to high school by a year and joined Don Miller's staff.
Well, let's talk about this UFO, this unheralded football overachiever, because Coach Miller, I talked to Coach Akers, and you yourself think very highly of this young man, Corey Miracle. Tell us a little bit about what he has to go through and what his situation is.
Well, Corey has always been a kid, a young man now, that does everything for everybody else. He is the, when you think about team players, he is the team player. He's the prime example. Every game, nobody really knows this except myself and his mother and maybe a select coach or two. Every game he has to get his blood sugar checked. It's usually high because of being a teenager, his adrenaline flowing. It's usually either high. He's even had to take insulin shots, and at halftime because he had crashed. And I constantly have to ask him and talk to him and check on his emotional state, because he will not tell me. He's so concerned about the team that I have to make sure that he has to have some individualism because of his disease.
Well, first of all, he's lucky and blessed to have someone like you to help be there on the staff to take care of him and help him out. But it's amazing. We had a player a couple of years ago who had the hemophilia, and he was playing football. Now we have Corey, who is diabetic, playing football. So he has to do a little bit more, maybe much more than other players on the team do to maintain his health, and yet he does a pretty darn good job at center.
Oh, he does. He has been I was very blessed. My son played 4 years as a starter from freshman to senior, and then right behind him, who, believe it or not, Corey and my son Christian were friends, and in 8th grade, my son went down as a senior and basically handed the baton to Corey, and basically just kind of put him through the ropes and told him what he needed to do if he wanted to start at center. And center is a very special position, as everyone well knows. Center is the backbone of the offensive line, making calls and everything else. And that snap has to go perfectly every time, no excuse. And he basically started from freshman year on, even with his diabetes, even with his ups and downs, his sugar and everything. And by the way, he's a governor's scholar too.
Well, see, that's what I was going to ask you next about that. He's a really good student. That's just
even with his academics, he's there every practice, every game.
Well, that's amazing, and what a great story. And you know, I really appreciate you coming up here. I know it's a chore sometimes for coaches to come join us, but I think anytime, and I'm sure you agree with this, anytime we can feature these kids that have to do special things in order to play football. I mean, it's a great game. Everybody loves it. But to have to do that, that makes a big difference, too. So I just wanted to congratulate you. And you can tell Corey from us up here on PrepSpin.com that we're really happy that. And if he wants to watch this, he can go to the archives and go to halftime and see this part. He might not want to watch the first half,
yeah,
but he might want to watch halftime.
But I will say this, and I'll leave you with this. Believe it or not, as adults, we forget this whole game is about the kids. And that's why I coach is for kids like Corey Miracle, because he's the reason why I get up every morning.
Well, Sean, I appreciate it, and good luck to you guys in the second half and the rest of the season, and thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to a quick break here at PrepSpin.com. Again, the score 30 halftime.
Kentucky is more than just its name, and so are we. You might not know us, but you've seen us all around our beautiful state, from the farmer growing his business to the parents growing their family. We're not confined to a campus or a city. We're people helping people, Kentuckians united together. You might not know our name, but we're ready to learn yours. University of Kentucky Federal Credit Union. Banking only.
Back to Lexington Catholic. We're about set for the second half here shortly. Lexington Catholic leads Western Hills 35-0. Tonight's game is brought to you in high definition video by White, Green, and Maggard Orthodontics, Kentucky Sports Medicine, Collins Bowling Centers, Eastland and Southland Shopping Centers, Lexington Clinic, Traditional Bank, Roberts Insurance, All Sports in the Fayette Mall, along with Robbie Davis Zija and nightvision.net. All those fine sponsors along the PrepSpin network. And we were talking here at halftime, just looking at the numbers, Coach Walker, that, man, it's two guys for Western Hills doing all the damage on the offensive side of the ball, but they've also been very active on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And Childress leads the Wolverines in rushing with 46 yards tonight. Justin Jenkins has 16 yards rushing. That's all the offense essentially for
They've
Western
thrown the
Hills on
ball
the run.
decent.
Yeah.
You know, when they've had an opportunity to get the ball down the field, they've been successful with that. And, you know, they're 50% for these guys is and they've done a decent job because they've had to convert some long yardage situations.
Again, we look at we've talked about the time of possession in the ball game would be critical for Western Hills. They've won that time of possession. Hasn't been because they've moved the football. It's because they've had the ball so many times after Catholic scoring. And that's where it's the misleading stat of all the stats. 50,
and that's what I've heard some guys. I even heard some national guys talking. Nationally on a game about how coaches don't put any more stock into time of possession and how important it is. Well, you can see right here, it's 35-0, and they had the ball 16 minutes to Catholic's 8. It doesn't make any difference. It's how efficient you are and what you do with the ball when you have it. And Catholic's extremely efficient. They ran 25 plays in the first half, 229 yards, but the most important thing, they scored 35 points. Now, granted, one of those came on a 90-yard touchdown run at to start the game. So, but that's really efficient.
One stat that jumps out at me, if I'm Coach Don Miller of Western Hills, to move the chains, you've got to convert on third downs. 1 of 9 in the first half of action.
Well, to me, I think the more important thing is to not be in those third downs, is to have a better first down call. You know, try to find things that are going to get you 4, 5, 6 yards on first down. Try to win first down. You know, then make third down a little bit easier on yourself. And I think guys, I think coaches sometimes take that for granted. I don't think they think about that as much in terms of. I think they think about first downs, but I don't think they think about winning on first down, trying to get 4, 5, 6 yards. Call a play that's going to do that.
Rios will kick this one off. It'll come down on the near side to Robinson at the 11-yard line. He has a crease. He's at the 45, the 50. One man to beat is Rios. Rios did a nice job, and Robinson will take it to the house. 89 yards, Wandale Robinson.
All right, wait a minute. I got to see that again. Where's our instant replay? He put his foot in the ground and made an almost 90-degree cut at full speed.
And the thing was, Rios did a good job of herding towards the sideline. Going to use that as an extra defender. The problem was Robinson had one more move.
And, if he had slowed down, Coach, if he'd have slowed down a step right there, he gets caught from behind.
Absolutely. He just was – that was pretty impressive. I'll tell you what, that should be one of the highlights.
Well, like I said, you said in the first half, Coach, do we have back-to-back kickoff returns for touchdowns? How about one to start the game, one to start the second half?
I like it. That should give
Who scored quicker though? What was the time? What was the time after the first one?
16 seconds for Thompson. So
13 seconds.
Yeah. And folks, Wandale Robinson's only a freshman.
Right.
That's scary.
Yeah. He is scary good now. He needs to get out. That's what I mean. He's so much fun to watch to play, and he's so much fun to watch when he gets out in space because he can do things like that.
Well, when you have a longtime coach sitting to our left and Coach me, and all of a sudden he sat up and his eyebrows raised after that little plant of the foot.
Well, he knew it was coming. He just didn't know how it was going to happen. Right, because we both were waiting to see what was going to happen.
Because when you're watching this game on HD on here on our PrepSpin.com. You got a great picture. You can see him coming down the field, and the defense was chasing, and he had that one man to beat. Now, is he going to run out of bounds like they do in the pros? Is he going to take the easy route? No, Donnie warned me, said this guy has some moves. He put that foot in the ground, and he was gone.
Well, the difference between the pros and this level is it looks like we're going to on the outside there. Yeah. He's going to be the contained man.
No rest for the weary, man.
No rest. There's nobody on the sideline to replace a talent like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you got a talent that young, you get him on the field as much as you can.
All right, yeah, you got to feed him.
We're all three up here former coaches, and we're all three thinking, if I had that player.
Give him
good players make you a much better coach.
Oh, yeah, don't they? Makes it a whole lot easier to call plays, I know that.
What is it?
They're going to onside kick. Actually, they're going to pooch it, and it came down. I think it's Jalen Jones there in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was.
I don't know.
I don't know if they were looking for a mishandled if they saw something where they thought maybe they might get a mishandled kick, or if they were looking for the fair catch and not have to cover.
I tell you what they could have done. Catholic had everybody up to about the 35-yard line.
They've probably seen that on film.
They could have kicked it deep to this side, because guess who's over here?
Yeah.
Robinson.
Yeah.
All he had to do is get past one guy.
And if I'm going to pooch it, I'm going to pooch it to my fastest kid, that's for sure.
Because you know he's going to probably catch it in the air down there.
Well, yeah.
Here's Fagot back to throw. He's under pressure for probably the first time tonight. They're in pursuit. Breaks containment, gets up to the 50, gets a crackback block from, I believe that was Thompson. And we're going to get a penalty flag.
Don't put your hands,
Now you look guilty.
They usually throw it on the second guy, but that could have gone on both of them.
Well, they let it go back and forth, and they waited until there were 3 or 4 guys involved.
Yeah. They're going to get offsetting personal foul penalties on both teams, one on either side.
Yeah, that's all they could do in that case.
Yeah, well, that could have gotten ugly because the officials were really slow in getting in there.
Well, I think they saw it, and I think they thought maybe they would just let it that it was going to be nothing. They would let it go, but then it escalated.
But these guys, a little bit of spunk out of both teams there.
Yeah.
They give it off to Jones up the middle. He'll dance inside the 40, about the 39-yard line. Give him 3. Actually, that'll be a first down there.
Right. The defensive tackle for Western Hills, Damian Carpenter, he got up the field really nicely on the play before. He's the one that flushed Fagot there, and he may have even gotten held just a little bit.
Fagot on a draw play to Jones. Lowers his head, gets to the 36-yard line, gain of 3.
See, now that was a pretty good offensive play there, but they just missed the block on the big man in the middle. I like the way now Western Hills is back to their 4 look, the 4 down linemen, and they're shifting down toward formation, I think. Let's see.
Fagot back to throw, looks down the left side, has a man out there, underthrown slightly. Did he catch it? He did. That is Andy Thompson down at about the 6-yard line.
We have a penalty.
We got a flag back here, though.
That's in the area of holding.
Don't move the sticks.
Oh, man.
It's in the area of holding. It usually comes from the umpire. That's usually what it is.
They brought a nice blitz that time, and Jalen Jones is he's learning how to become a complete back. He did a nice job. He stepped up and picked up that blitz. He used his O-lineman to help pick it up too. He didn't sit back in the pocket and wait for him to come to him and then get him driven back into the quarterback. He stepped up in there and took him on.
Personal foul, a blow to the head called on one of the Knights offensive linemen. That's an unusual call you'll see on a pass protection play.
Yeah.
Usually hands to the face maybe.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, usually that's the call, but
well, they went to it. Now they're in at least they're in a 6-man box. Now they've got a 4-2 look instead of the 4-1 look.
A single safety back in the middle of the field. Fagot back to throw.
They picked it up this time.
Nice job from Seals. They were looking for Thompson, I think, on the screen here, and a nice job of again, that was Carpenter in the backfield causing problems for.
He did a great job reading that play that time, and it is a staple of this offense. They've run it time and time again, but he did a nice job picking that up, and he's the guy that has been that got the big pass rush to begin with. So he's usually the guy you want to pick on, but he read it nicely.
It'll be second down and 25. Fagot looks for Morris, and again off his hands, had him open, and again
he did.
Just off his fingertips.
I tell you, he did something really, really nice, though, Donnie Morris did, that most young receivers don't do, is he threw his hands up at the very last second to catch that ball. He didn't run with his hands out and let the defender know that the ball was in the air so the defender could get his head turned. He did a really, really nice job of throwing his hands out there last second. Now he's just got to haul those in.
Yeah, there's a lot of deception that you can teach kids. That one of the things you drill all the time.
Fagot back to throw. Green pass on the left side there to Ogbugu. He's got the alley down the left side, and he'll go almost untouched, but we have a flag back at the 48-yard line.
Another flag, a little slip screen, tunnel screen, whatever you want to call it. Nice job of getting in and then back out to the sideline.
Don't know what they're going to call here. It looks
like, I guess would be a block in the back, but we'll see.
Personal foul on Western Hills.
Really?
Yeah, show me the.
Coach Don Miller out the numbers wasn't an explanation. His reaction says, I didn't get a very good one there. So a touchdown of 53 yards from Pago to Ogabugu. And the Knights move out 41-7 with the extra point pending with 10:24 to go.
I wish I'd seen what happened over there. That's an odd turn of events. Rarely are you going to see a personal foul in a situation like that. I would have expected more of a hold or a block in the back. Maybe it was a retaliation for something they thought had happened.
That's what I was thinking. It was near their sideline, and it might have been.
They came out early, though, on that play, just as the ball was being released by Fago.
They ran a little jailbreak screen, and that's where you get your linemen involved in the on the perimeter and blocking that. And sometimes when those DBs turn their back, those linemen can't stop and pull up in time, and they'll get them in the back every now and then. And maybe somebody took a shot on Western Hillside that they didn't like and took some offense to it and decided to do something about it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Philip Go, a 5'3", 110-pound freshman with the extra point.
There you go. Get him in the stat book.
Oh yeah. He's actually 2 for 2 on his extra points now. Also, Bluegrass Preps. I mean, I've not gotten on there very much, but evidently he's got some pretty good information there.
I know they've been around for a long time. They were probably one of the first, if not the first, websites in the state that you could go in and I think a lot of kids like to go in there and talk a little smack, but it was a good place to go in and learn a few things about some injuries that may be going on or some issues that might be going on with an opponent down the road.
I'll tell you why I like it, because I'll go on there and you can identify teams that you want to follow.
Right.
And like I've got teams I follow in Pennsylvania where my brother coaches and, different places, and I think that's a real value to me.
I haven't, it's been around though. I guess it's been around since – it's got to be 15 years maybe now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely. Well, let's see. Now, Western Hills here and behind 42-7.
We had another penalty, it looks like. Or no, they actually tacked it on at the end of the run on the kickoff here. They're going to onside kick it.
That's not going to go.
And it barely
10?
went. Nope, didn't go 10 yards.
No. It was touched.
I think it did.
Right at the 40.
It was
right
touched
at the 35.
early.
Yeah, I think he touched it just a hair before the 35-yard line.
I want to see
They're
that.
going to put it inside the 35, so it goes back to Lexington Catholic.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to have to they're going to have to talk about this.
Yeah, well, it looked like the official right there on that 35 was a little slow in coming in and making a solid decision.
Yeah.
And you can tell Don Miller is emphatic that the ball was touched early.
I know. He's furious.
I mean, it was just I thought it got touched just a smidge right before the 35.
Plus,
I tell you what, and I saw this exact same surprise onside kick last Saturday. The Cal Bears did it to Washington State. It was the exact same side, exact same way.
They turn, fake it, Fago on the quarterback keeper on the zone read and gets it to the 31-yard line. Gain of about 4. And Robinson, that's DJ Green on the tackle for Western Hills.
Fago got up a little slow on that.
Well, I'm not really sure why you would want to run your quarterback when you're up 42-7 right now.
Right. A little thigh action. I think he got hit right in the thigh.
And a whistle, and they're going to get the center for an illegal snap. Kind of
moving the ball.
Yeah, just kind of a little jerk of it. So it'll be second down now and 12 for the Knights.
Coaching a game like this, what were your thoughts coming out in the second half as far as playing your starters?
I always, it depends. I mean, you're 42-7, whatever, 35-0.
It's 35-0.
35-0.
Yeah.
That's not that bad. I mean, you figure you can make a couple mistakes and the team could get back in it a little bit. I'd go ahead and I usually went ahead and played my game plan. Told my coaches, run your game plan until I tell you not to.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that was probably most of the third quarter.
Right.
But when you get a really, really big lead, you have to get your younger kids in there. And if you get a running clock, you don't have a lot of time to do that because the other team's got the ball too. So,
Well, for me, from my standpoint, we get something like, something that would be considered a a runaway. I generally, if it was that way at halftime, I would come out with my starters for the first series on both sides of the ball and kind of get a feel for the way the big game was going to go, then make a determination from there. From your quarterback.
Yeah, he put a shoulder into number 44 there for Western Hills. Number 44, Evan Hannes, just took a lick, 185 pounds, and he went down like a sack.
From the quarterback.
From the quarterback.
Kirk Fagot peeled back on that. Jalen, the hole was clogged to the left, and he decided to spin out of it and reverse field to come all the way back, and the heads-up play by Fagot.
Pretty good defense on that play.
Fagot sprinting right. Hodgson pursuit, and this one thrown and out of bounds. Nice catch by Morris coming back to Fagot, but we have a flag at the 34-yard line in the air of holding again.
This has not been the most.
Had a pretty clean first half of penalties from both sides.
I think they only each one only had, I think, 3 penalties. We've had more than that on this drive.
3 penalties. Catholic having 3.
Another one on the defense.
Yeah, holding downfield.
Wow.
From the defense, from the defensive lineman. Hands to the face. It's a 10-yard penalty. It'll be 3rd down. And 1 for Lexington Catholic. At the Western Hills, it'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of the 30 or the 27-yard line, maybe the 26. Actually,
I take that back. I misspoke. This isn't the same drive. I forgot they kicked the onside kick and just got the ball back.
Yeah. Right, just did, yeah.
It is a first down. They call it a personal foul.
I'm sure
the face. Okay.
Western Hills fans are a little questioning why onside kick when you had 42-7.
Yeah.
Twofold on that one, I think. Maybe to get the running clock, get yourself out of here quicker, and then maybe just because of the short field.
Or work on your onside kick. What else are you going to work on? You can't work on something like that in practice.
Well, and they showed, and the reason I brought up the one that Cal did over the weekend is they got the exact same look. The front 5 were squeezed in. They were almost inside the hash, and there was a lot of space on the outside that couldn't be covered.
They give it off to Jones. Skips through a tackle inside the 10, inside the 5 to about the 4-yard line.
It was a nice job, pulled the backside guard and tackled the lead through that play and isolated that linebacker too, and it was a nice running play.
If that tackle stays a little tighter to that, that's probably a touchdown right there.
Yeah.
Elder on the tackle for Western Hills. And take your pick.
Yeah, I think defense moved first. The question is, did he get in the neutral zone?
That's a legal procedure on Lexington Catholic. Like Western Hills walked the linebacker up in the gap there to show blitz. And
Catholic may get as many plays in this quarter as they got in the first half. They only ran 25 offensive plays in the first half.
Fagot throws out to the right side.
Jailbreak screen.
Yep. Ogabugu, and boy, I tell you, he just got some serious speed.
Yeah, I don't understand why they turned that back outside. I mean, it's they've gotten down. It's a touchdown, so I guess he did the right thing.
He did the right thing in that result. But yeah, that screen's funny because first of all, you want to throw it a little closer to the line of scrimmage. I think, in my opinion, a little closer to the line of scrimmage. Let those linemen get down there and get behind them.
Got another flag.
In the middle.
Unsportsmanlike conduct coming up on one of the teams. I couldn't tell if it was somebody from Western Hills or maybe some taunting from a Catholic player.
A little chippy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Unsportsmanlike on Western Hills. Also, I was noticing Childress, who was in man coverage on Mogu, he just decided he was going to follow along. But couldn't he be more aggressive, Coach? Coach could he be more aggressive in coming after?
If you can get in that receiver's hip pocket, which they're taught when they run that route to create separation. So if you get man or press coverage, you're taught to try to push the defender off and create some separation for whoever's going to be your kick-out blocker on that. And if you can't, and that defender can get in your hip pocket, that play usually doesn't work.
Have to make the tackle too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've seen him miss so many times. Guys come up too fast and miss it.
Again, this is go with the extra point. And he's perfect, and it's 49-7. And from this point on, folks, it'll be a running clock. We'll be back here to Lexington Catholic after this timeout message on PrepSpin.com.
Thank you for tuning in to tonight's ball game. Lexington Catholic hopes to pave the way for the future of high school sports broadcasting through this exciting new digital network. If you would like to get your business into the game as a Night Vision sponsor, please contact Delane Thiel at 277-7183 extension 253 or dthiel@lexingtoncatholic.com. Go Knights!
Kentucky is more than just its name, and so are we. You might not know us, but you've seen us all around our beautiful state, from the farmer growing his business to the parents growing their family. We're not confined to a campus or a city. We're people helping people, Kentuckians united together. You might not know our name, but we're ready to learn yours. University of Kentucky Federal Credit Union. Banking, only better.
Excuse me, Lafayette 22-7 over George Rogers Clark. That's closer than I thought it might have been.
Here's a surprise for you. I think St. X is up 17-0 over Manual.
Ooh.
Manual's loaded this year.
This one in the end zone will be a touchback for Rios, and the other one was 35-21. Scott County over Henry Clay. Doesn't surprise me. Both teams score a lot of points and don't play a lot of defense.
Well, I was
Not like the game we had last year, though, Coach.
Yeah, well, I know. And I had a conversation with a couple people over the last couple weeks about defense in this city is just not very good. I mean, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why, but it's crazy.
Especially Henry Clay. Doesn't it kind of surprise you with Sam and his background as a defensive coach?
Yeah, you would think, but it's everywhere, though. Bryan Station's up 19-0 over Dunbar. So.
Okay. Two receivers here to the near side. The tight end to the right. They give it off on the jet sweep. This is that Seals? It looks like Seals. Yep, that was Seals on the carry.
Around the left side, carry.
The tackle by Sid Sharp and Zach Newcomb for the Knights.
Newcomb did a pretty good job on that.
Yep, got 5. It'll be second down and 5 with 6:38 to go and the clock running. This broadcast tonight brought to you in high definition video by White, Green, and Maggard Orthodontics. Greer, I'm sorry. I said white, green. I can't read my own writing. My bad. White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics. My fault about that. Here's Seals on the screen pass. Splits a couple of defenders, then lowers his shoulder and is run out of bounds at about the 45-yard line.
That was a little slow screen that time. The slot back just stepped back and waited for the football to come, and Catholic was very slow getting out there, and he had pretty good yardage on that. I think we're seeing some subs in there on defense now.
Yeah, there's a few on the defensive front right now for the Knights.
Catholic's giving them that look, kind of like what they did in the CovCaf game that we watched here earlier in the season, where if you just throw the little quick screens now, especially when you've got some kids that are as explosive as Wandale Robinson, I'd just go ahead and give it to him.
Childress on a seam route to
over here.
His wide out
Trevor James.
Yeah. Pretty good defensive play over there by Rawadi over there.
I like their use of motion that time. They actually it was overloaded this side anyway, brought the man across in motion. Now would have been a good time to run a slant on this side.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got two defenders over here that actually was trying to cover the trips look over here. They turn, double handoff to Robinson. Gets lost in traffic, darts outside to the right, breaks it down the right sideline. He's at the 30, the 25, the 20, and is run down inside the 20 to about the 19-yard line. And Coach Walker, I tell you, the first thing he did was he gave a little move in the hole, and then he was at top speed as soon as he got some daylight.
He escaped from that. Like all the doors were unlocked and all the windows were open. I cannot believe he got out of there.
Well, I bet he could run through the rain and not get wet. He is quick as lightning.
Yeah, and he's sometimes he's hard to find. He's not very tall, so sometimes he's hard to find in there. But he's just so explosive.
Well, what I like is as soon as he gets that daylight, he is at top speed. There's no, I'm going to take my time getting out here. As soon as he sees it, he's hitting it and at full speed. They give it off on the sweep to Seals, and he's dropped for a loss.
Pretty good job by Lexington Catholic setting the edge on that one. It really did come up and did a nice job.
Yeah, that's a contrast in styles right there. You had some really quick speed coming to the right side, and then you brought it back with didn't hit that quite as explosive, and Catholic was able to react to that a little bit easier.
Dylan Coulter on the stop for the Knights. A gain or loss of 4 on the play. Childress back to throw. Rolls right, in trouble at the 30-yard line, and down he goes.
I don't know. I'm not sure what they were trying to do that time. It looked like they only had 2 people out in the route, and Lexington Catholic dropped that safety back out of there, and everything was covered.
Well, what I think they were going to do, guys, they were going to roll him, half roll to the right and throw back here to Robinson, maybe on a screen back to the near side.
I never saw him look this way, but he had pressure on him really quickly, so who knows.
Coulter again on the stop for Lexington Catholic. So Coulter on back-to-back stops for the Knights forces the Wolverines in a 3rd and 23 from the Knights' 30-yard line. Childress back to throw, steps up in the pocket, down he goes.
Well, they showed blitz and brought blitz the entire way on that, and that he had no chance.
Austin Pedrochi, the linebacker, on the stop, 4th, and a long way to go.
Childress
you got to get to Robinson, get in his hands any way you can.
Yeah, Childress had no chance there, and you know, Catholic didn't disguise that blitz. They brought it, they showed it pre-snap, and they brought more than they could block up front. Western Hills, and all he could do was try to make something out of nothing, but there was no place to go.
Well, that Pedrochi is a linebacker, and he's a junior. He's coming back next year. I'll tell you what, he's improving every game.
Childress to Robinson on that screen across the middle. He's weaving his way through traffic. Still on his feet inside the 25, but it'll be dropped to the 24, but they need it inside the 10-yard line. But boy, every time he gets the ball in his hands, he's a big play waiting to happen.
Well, that's one of the first things that I told Coach Meehan when I walked in the booth. I said, you know, one of the things that Western Hills is going to have to do to be in this game and win this game is they've got to get the ball in that kid's hands as many times as they can, and the best thing to do is try to get it to him in space, which is what they did there. That's a great first down play. You know, you pick up 8, 10, 12 yards right there, and it's an easy pitch and catch for a quarterback, and that negates that pass rush too.
Yeah, he's probably had 20 carries in this game, but again, we're just not getting him in space often enough.
It's like we have a new quarterback in the lineup for Catholic, and he short hops his receiver out here. This is Luke Powell.
Yeah, this is a good time to get those kids some experience in there.
Powell goes 5'6", 126 pounds, and only a freshman.
Yeah, Robinson and Childress are doing most of the work for Western Hills.
On both sides of the ball.
Right, absolutely.
And we get a flag, and
2 guys.
Somebody moved early in the offensive line, it looks like. And I think for the first time tonight, I should say, looks like Robinson is on the sidelines. He's taking a break. No, there he is on the far side. I think nope, that's not him.
Donnie Forgo, pretty darn good job. 7 for 15 for 209 yards and 3 touchdowns, right?
That's pretty efficient.
That's pretty darn good.
5-yard penalty backs up the Knights 5 yards. He swings it out in the flat to his wideout, who somehow gets out of trouble there. He's still on his feet over the 30 to about the 31, maybe the 32-yard line.
How about bringing your freshman in your first 2 plays or pass plays for him?
Hey, that's nothing wrong with that. You give him something he can complete.
Yeah.
He kind of got a little nervous and skipped the first one.
So you gave him, so you go right back to him, let him get his confidence back, you know. We get a timeout here? Oh, we got the
Ben Buchananty on the catch. 5'9" junior for the Knights. Gets it into manageable 3rd down. And will be at the end of the 3rd quarter with Lexington Catholic on top of the Knights, the Wolverines 49-7. Again, tonight's broadcast, high-definition video presented by White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics. Make sure I read that correctly this time. Kentucky Sports Medicine, Collins Bowling Centers, and Eastland and Southland Shopping Centers, along with Lexington Clinic, Traditional Bank, Roberts Insurance, All Sports, and Fayette Mall, along with Robbie Davis Zizia and Night Vision.net. So
Yeah,
Aaron Douglas on with Mike. We have talked about Gary Ball. I still don't think Gary's at a wedding. I think he's went on Florida for a vacation.
No, Gary was worried. He thought we might, mess up things up here, but we're doing our best, Gary. You're our hero. But, but listen, Darren and,
yes, sir.
and Donnie, I want to make sure people, we really do need to support these sponsors because they're the ones that make this stuff work.
Right.
High school football is very important to the three of us, and William over here too. But my goodness, what a wonderful thing to have this HT broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, I wish back when we were coaching, that there were things like this around where you could shoot, because it's always great when you can kind of get your kids that they know that grandma and grandpa in Pennsylvania can watch, or out in California, or even in Alaska. They can tune in and get to see them play, and you can kind of showcase your kids and get some really good film for them when they want to send it out to a recruiter.
That's right. And actually, it's been pointed out to me several times that there are a lot of people that watch these games live are grandparents and uncles and aunts in other states.
Yeah,
that watch these games to watch their grandkids play and their nieces or nephews.
I think it's a tremendous deal. To be able to do that, and I hope this is just the tip of the iceberg, and it's able to kind of spread, and more teams are able to do this. I think it's good for your program. I think it's good for your program to be able to get the kind of coverage that you get on these things.
Second punt of the night for Lexington Catholic's a line drive, and it hits between the two guys back for Western Hills. One of them was Robinson, and we all three throw our hands up because we wanted Robinson to get his hands on the ball again.
That's one of my pet peeves. Gary Ball gets a big kick out of that.
Catching a punt in the air.
Every 10 yards you let that thing roll is a first down you're not going to get.
Right.
And they've struggled getting first downs regardless.
Right.
But they've played much better here in the second half as Western Hills, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They've actually kept the chains moving.
Hey, my hat's off to them. To be in a game like this, and they're still plugging away, and they're trying to get better.
There's no quit in it. I've seen that too. No quit whatsoever.
If I'm not mistaken, the schedule gets no easier for Western Hills next week.
They've got murderers.
It's to get off a nice give and a nice run after that by Justin Jenkins up over the 40 to about the 43-yard line of the Wolverines. A 19-yard scamper by the Wolverine running back.
Darren, what's their district games?
I think they play Garrett. They play Garrett.
Yeah, they got Garrett at home, and then they have to go on the road to Boyle in 2 weeks, and then they finish up with Grant County. So this is the real meat of their schedule. This is the toughest part that they have right now.
We're gonna do some reschedule. Yeah, we're gonna do some reclassification. Oh, by the way, you're in the district of Boyle County and
Lexington.
Catholic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And Garrett's not a too shabby ball club either.
Right.
They pitch it back. I believe that's Robinson who's going to be swarmed under. That's actually Thurman Seals.
Yeah. That play took a long time to develop, didn't it, Coach?
Yeah, it was too slow, and he stepped a little too deep for the pitch and gave it away too quickly.
Why don't more teams out of motion from their wideouts or wingbacks? Why don't they more teams run maybe a speed option instead of that toss sweep? Doesn't it take a long time for the ball to get there?
Man,
well, it depends on your personnel. It depends on what you can do, really. And it just depends on your offensive philosophy and how it fits in with the rest of what you're doing offensively. And with
Hey, Darren, I'll tell you one thing. If you're going to run option, you're going to run option.
Yeah, you got to practice.
You got to practice it.
That's true.
That's true. Teams like Navy,
Army,
and Navy,
Air Force,
they don't have a lot of time to practice, and so they want to do the same plays over and over, and they get you with
and everything
formation.
Looks the same.
Yeah, but they get you with formation and motion.
5-yard penalty against the entire left side Wolverine offensive line. They all jumped too early. Childress across the middle. That's Robinson. It's going to be dropped at the 38-yard line. But again,
the future's bright for that kid.
Oh
though.
boy,
that young man's got a really good road ahead of him.
Mm-hmm. I'm just, the toughest thing for a guy to do, a receiver to do, or even a running back, is to come across the middle. And Robinson has done it all night long.
Oh, he's been fearless with everything. I mean, he's put he's as diminutive as he is. He's one of the leading tacklers, I think, at halftime, and he's not afraid to stick his nose in anywhere.
3rd and 15 for Western Hills. They're looking long for Robinson. Oh man. He was looking for it, and it went right over his head, and Childress couldn't really step into that one as he was throwing off his back foot. But I was wondering how long it would take for the OC, for the Wolverines, to call a wheel route.
But you know what? I think he might have lost that ball.
It could, right in the lights.
That's what it looked like. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me, because it got on top of his head. That doesn't normally happen. So they're coming out and running some empty. Donnie, what's your philosophy defensively against a good team that runs empty?
Well, an empty is going to depend on how you match up, and then you got to decide whether that quarterback's a runner or not. If he's a passer, I'm going to try to bring pressure at him. But when you got a kid like Childress, you got to try to contain that pocket and try to contain him. He's not as much of a threat as a passer, to me, as a traditional, a more seasoned quarterback might be. So, I would just try to keep him in the pocket.
They rush one. Does Catholic. Nice punt.
In the nice punt, yeah.
Really
nice
that's
punt.
hit about the 25. It's going to roll dead inside the 10.
Still rolling.
And it stops at about the 7-yard line.
See, I don't make this stuff up. I actually do watch a little bit of film.
You said he was a good punter, but you couldn't have proved it by the first half.
No, I know. They were doing everything they could to make me look bad, weren't they?
Yeah, we made a statement about punter being so good, and these people watching the game saying, that guy doesn't know anything. Man. Hey, let's go back to what you were saying. The Eastern game against Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That quarterback was released up the middle constantly because the rush was there, but it was running by the quarterback.
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of young, I'm not talking about UK, but you'll see that a lot of times with high school kids and younger. They'll get good penetration, but they don't know how to break down and then go make a play. They just continue to run.
Gave it to Jalen Jones on the give. He'll get out over the 15-yard line to the 17.
Catholic's got Boyle County next week, right?
Right.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they do.
Oh, that's here, isn't it?
They better
That's
keep
20. I think
everybody
that's
here.
here.
I
think that's here.
29, right? Who is that?
Is it 29?
Yeah.
I know they play Boyle
That's
at Boyle.
Damian Jones.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, the other Jones.
I was going to say
I feel a little better now that Jalen's
yeah.
not out there running the ball right now.
Yeah. Coach Perry. Look, we both have a lot of respect for
Yeah.
Coach Perry. He's a tremendous person, too. I mean, he really cares about the kids, and, he's just a great guy and a super coach.
Well, they do look they look similar in the backfield, and they do run similarly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jalen goes 6'1", 225. Damian 5'7", 140.
See, they look just alike.
They look a whole lot bigger. They do look a whole lot bigger when they put the stuff on, don't they?
I don't know, Donnie. I'm questioning your vision.
I was going to say, I think he's the youngest one
Well,
of the
but
three.
you got to
right here,
remember
right?
too, they got a smaller quarterback in there, so everything's relative.
It's relative.
Everything's relative.
There you go. But you are the youngest one of the three that's up here.
He does run with a similar style.
They
though.
do.
They
Give
do
it
look
off
a
to
lot
Jones
alike.
again.
They do look a lot alike when they run the ball.
Yeah. They both kind of have that up and down running style. Really, they don't, and I kind of liking that now. But I get in trouble for doing this a lot, but kind of that running style reminds you a little bit of Eric Dickerson. He always ran straight up, never really got down behind his pads.
And Jalen will drop his pads from time to time. He has been hit a couple times doing that, but he's gotten better about it, I think.
They give it off to Jones again, and he's in the arms of John Elder.
I don't think Jalen turns around and goes the other direction.
Well,
and he might have a couple words for little brother.
I was going to say, in fairness to Damian, Elder was right there when he got the handoff.
And John Elder's no slouch either.
No,
he's a good defensive player.
And those same guys have been in there
Right.
the whole game fighting. I mean, they're doing the best they can. Can't beat them on some pretty big plays.
How well conditioned is this Western Hills team?
Must be pretty good because not one of them have taken a break that I can think of.
No.
Dual safeties for Western Hills as the punt comes, and they almost get it. They're going to hit it to 50, and I believe that's Childress back there receiving punts, the quarterback, and he had a notion of picking it up, and right there, though, was his head coach, Don Miller, saying, let it roll. Didn't want him taking an unnecessary hit.
No. I think Don Miller's thinking about let's see if we can get this game behind us, go home and regroup and get ready for next week, which is not going to be a whole lot easier game when they have to. But at least they get to play back at home in Frankfort and have Garrett County come to them.
And we're down to 3.5 minutes to play in this one. They give it off to Jenkins again. He gets near midfield, which would be a first down if he gets the midfield stripe, and he did. So right on the midfield stripe, gain of 11 for Jenkins. Again, we're happy you're with us here on PrepSpin. It's been a long day here.
Because I can point out 5'7" and 6'2" and make it sound the same. That's why I'm here.
That's right.
They give it off. That's Jenkins again. Actually, this is the quarterback, Childress on the keeper.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get down to the Lexington Catholic 46-yard line, so we're off 14 now.
I don't see anything wrong at all with what Western Hills is doing. They're running their offense. They're basically working on the things they need to work on for the rest of the season. Lexington Catholic, they're young guys. A lot of young guys are in there. They're playing the way they're supposed to play. We're playing zone again. Are we man? No. Looks like
man. No. Kind of hard to tell here. They're swinging out here on the screen, and he got a great block.
I tell you what,
Thurman Seals, yep.
I don't know. I didn't catch the number of the corner down here on this side, but he did a great job of what he probably did exactly what he was coached to do. He came up outside. He worked outside in, but he just came up too far.
Yeah, he came up too far, but a nice block, too, from Jalen Youngblood, number 4 for Western Hills to really spring him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about, you're right, it's all about levels, too. You know, you really, defensively, that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
You can't over-penetrate, but you want to come up, you want to force the play inside.
And that's a young kid mistake right there, you know. But I love what he did. I mean, he didn't get beat outside.
Nope.
He tried to turn the play back inside and did what he was coached to do. He did it maybe a little too literally right there.
Right.
Seth Pickard on to attempt the extra point for the Wolverines is up and right down the middle. So with 2:23 to play in the ball game, it's Lexington Catholic on top 49-14. And really, you hear that score and you think, well, Catholic dominated, but it was really the first quarter that really just took Western Hills totally out of the game.
Was it 21 or 28?
I think it was 28. I think.
It was 28. And, you know, I hate to say this. I mean, it really kills me to say this, but that's exactly what the Cubs did to the Pirates. I was watching that game with my sons and my daughter-in-law and so on over and wife at my son Luke's house with chicken wings and, you know, just a really nice time. We were all fired up.
Where were we, Coach?
I don't know, but after that first inning, I was home.
But, you know, when you come into a game like this, though, and you know that Don Miller's worked, and you know that they put together a special defensive game plan for this bunch because they came out in a different defense than they've run all year.
They did.
They kicked the ball off, and they're expecting to come out and unveil their defense and you know, rely on what's been their strength, which is their defenses, and then you get a kick return for a touchdown, and that is deflating, you know. And you've got to be a special person on the sideline to keep your guys up and let them understand that's, you know, there's nothing wrong right now. We can fix this. We can still come back from this, but then the wheels just fell off really quickly.
Well, I always hated get the ball first and work. Our team worked their rear off. Drive the ball down the field in 10 plays and score, kickoff, and they run it back for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, it just frustrates you.
This one's a line drive that'll hit at the 20 and bounce inside the 10, inside the 5, and decided finally to go out of bounds. I thought it was going to check up, kind of look like my tee shot off the
I think that's a great kick right there, man, because the clock's going to continue to run anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But they had an opportunity to if they get down and they're able to get on that ball, they get another score.
That's right.
Well, this time Catholic had a lone safety back there by himself.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was a smart play.
Yeah. Again, tonight's broadcast brought to you in part by high definition video by White, Greer, and Maggard. I can't even read my own writing. Wow. And I've got glasses on. Bad. But White, Green, and Maggard orthodontics. Greer. I told you I can't read my own writing. Here, help me out here, Coach.
Let me help you out.
Help me out there, Coach.
Donnie says Greer and Green sound the same.
Well,
but it's not.
It's my college education, guys.
It's Greer.
And
there you go. I'll put it in big magic marker for you.
How about that? My good buddy William Warfield here will say it's my eyesight in my high school education. But I think it might be my college education, actually, to be honest with you. No.
Man, we do have a new back end. It's number 23.
23. Let's see who it is. That is DeMarco Fishback.
Nice move.
Oh, he better get that ball into his body.
Tell you what, number 1 for Western Hills, that was Justin Jenkins. Came flying up there and did the Cardinal sin, though. He dropped his head. Didn't see his target.
See what you hit. Now, he doesn't look quite like the Jones brothers.
No. But he's got some pretty quick feet.
And I don't mean that. I was joking about what we talked about the last year.
He's not as big yet.
Yeah.
They turned to give it off to him again.
He's deceptively fast, and he's got a long stride.
Nice moves. You're right, though. He needs to lock that ball a little closer to his body.
You know what I like about him, though? Once he sees the line of scrimmage, he puts those shoulders square to it.
Coach having a little discussion with one of the players down there on the sideline. He got a little close to the action there.
How tough is it to teach a freshman to get his freshman running back get his shoulder square to the line of scrimmage as soon as he sees daylight?
You don't teach. It's
just
hard to
natural.
Yeah, I think most running back stuff is natural.
Yeah, it's real natural.
Give it off to.
You can try to enhance a few things and do some stuff, but vision, I think, is one of those things that you can coach it and you can make it better, I think, but it's just like quarterback vision too. You know, being able to not see the rush and just keep your eyes downfield. Those are things that the good ones just have. Look at that.
Now this is, I think it's Jones again. Yep.
Yeah.
Damian Jones, and that'll do it for this one here. That's the final play of the ball game as the clock runs. And coaches, we've seen, we'll get this more in depth when we come back, but what stands out to you about these two ball clubs?
Well, I think Western Hills relied on their defense, and they couldn't stop Catholic. And I think when we come back from a quick break, Darren, we can talk a little bit about the quarterbacks too and how they handle this.
What if you could do all your banking without ever having to run to your bank? What if you could do your banking from any stadium or city in the country? It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. With traditional banks, online and mobile banking, it couldn't be more simple. My life moves pretty fast, and Traditional Bank's team protects me while I do what I do best, at home or away. Way to go, Traditional Bank. You scored again. Traditional Bank's online and mobile banking. Winners at home and on the road.
Traditional Bank.
All S, all P, all O, R, T, S. Pick it up at all sports. Pick it up at all sports.
In Fayette Mall on Facebook and Twitter, locally owned and operated since 1972.
Back to Lexington Catholic High School, and the Knights victorious 49-14 over Western Hills in the first district game for both ball clubs here tonight. And just one of those nights where Lexington Catholic jumped on the Wolverines early, didn't let them up, and good ball clubs do that. Once you get a team down, you don't let them up.
Well, it's exactly what Lexington Catholic needed coming off of the game that they had last week. And unfortunately, it came at the expense of Western Hills. And Western Hills just didn't execute their game plan. I don't think they did. I don't think they didn't execute the way that Don Miller wanted them to, and where they had really been strong defensively, they gave up some big plays tonight. But you got to credit Coach Perry and Lexington Catholic. I thought they executed their game plan to a T. I thought they did a really nice job getting their quarterback in rhythm early and using tempo to try to wear out a team, which is one thing you want to do when you got a team that's playing kids both ways like Western Hills.
Right, and to be honest with you, after getting pretty much beat bad last week, they came back with a vengeance too. And again, like you said, boy, I tell you what, when you open up the game with a kickoff return, it's going to put you in a hole right away. And I think it kind of shocked Western Hills a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I think, and I mentioned this before, early in the game especially, I think Catholic's tempo really hurt Western Hills.
Yeah, you just can't. It's hard to replicate that when when you try to practice. If you don't really do it, it's hard to replicate it. And then when you've got guys, as we said, especially those big guys in the middle that have to play, they turn around and they have to chase a screen to the sideline after they've just rushed the passer, and then they have to turn around and go play offense. That's tough.
Yeah. And I can't say enough for Fago, how he stepped in to replace Legend Brumball, who was hurt earlier in the year. I think he's done an excellent job.
And he threw the deep ball really well tonight, I thought.
Yeah, he did. His feet are good. I was watching a little bit, watching his feet, his positioning. Whereas the quarterback for Western Hills had a little problem with that. Of course, he was under pressure a lot too.
Yeah, he was under duress most of the evening, and even when that I think that's kind of what set the tone for the game is when Catholic realized that they could rush 3 and drop 8 and still get pressure, then they knew they could be in pretty good shape defensively. I mean, when you can do that, you can basically do whatever you want defensively,
Do you have some stats?
Not yet. We're going to try to fill this time as much as we can. But
okay. Coach Perry will be up here in a minute.
I'm glad you two guys were able here to carry me tonight because it's pretty sad when you can't read your own handwriting.
Darren, you did a good job.
And of course, Gary will give me a hard time when he hears this broadcast, but that's okay because we fire shots over across each other's bow quite a bit.
Oh, Gary gives everybody a hard time.
He does. But when you look at tonight, and it's kind of hard to tell where you are if you're Western Hills because you got off to a start that was so sluggish. You wanted to get off to a much better start. You didn't, and it put you behind the 8 ball, so to speak. But hey, there's one thing I've noticed with this Western Hills team under Don Miller. They have really been more and more competitive as far as just not giving up, just continuing to play.
You got to get I totally agree. You've got to give this team credit for fighting the entire time. The same kids had to play offense, defense, special teams, and you didn't see kids tapping to come out. You didn't see a lot of cramping and stuff like that. Those kids came to play, and they came out with a really spirited third quarter.
Well, it's Catholic 49-14 over Western Hills. We'll be back with more here from Lexington Catholic High School in Lexington on PrepSpin.com.
Kentucky is more than just its name, and so are we. You might not know us, but you've seen us all around our beautiful state, from the farmer growing his business to the parents growing their family. We're not confined to a campus or a city. We're people helping people, Kentuckians united together. You might not know our name, but we're ready to learn yours. University of Kentucky Federal Credit Union. Banking only better.
That's right.
Welcome back to Joseph K. Ford Stadium, where on the campus of Lexington Catholic High School, where Lexington Catholic pulled off a pretty good win tonight, I think. Donnie Walker with me, Mike being here with Coach Perry, and we know Coach Perry quite well. We're old friends. We're going to get him up here and teach him a little bit. It's pretty hard to teach somebody. Let's start early, all right?
Yeah.
Kickoff return. That makes a big difference, doesn't it?
That was, I thought the tone was set, and I think it was important that we came out you see some of the capabilities of their skill kids. They've got some really nice skill kids and some playmakers. And I thought, the first quarter is really important, and that definitely set the tone early. Scoring 35 in the first quarter, and couldn't ask for a better start in district play.
Yeah, and Donnie, we were talking a little bit about the quarterback situation. You want to talk a little bit about how Fago and how he did tonight?
Yeah, I thought he looked excellent tonight. I thought he was really efficient with the ball. Didn't throw it very often, but I think he had 3, 4, 5 touchdowns tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, it was he did a really nice job running the offense and setting up the screens and delivering the screens where guys could catch it and run with it. And I think a lot of people take that for granted. Those aren't easy throws sometimes, especially those jailbreak or tunnel screens. And then he had the little rollout screen where he turned and threw it back. And you got to hit those guys upfield where they can actually do something with it. There is an art to it, isn't it?
It's a lot harder than what it looks, you know. And honestly, we had 2 or 3 drops tonight that could have been scores or should have been scores that the receivers got to make a play, but I thought Kirk, I thought he managed the game well, like you said. He did what we needed him to do. He pulled the ball a couple times on the read plays and just managed the offense well.
I think Coach Miller, he does a really good job defensively, and I felt like he came out with a game plan. He ran a little forefront look against you, had those linebackers out a little wide. I think he was trying to do something to stop your passing game more than anything. But again, your athletes were really good. And they had some good people in the secondary, but I think your play calling did a really good job with your play calling and spreading them out. And Donnie and I talked about this. Your tempo got him pretty good in the first part of the game.
Well, we saw they had 8 guys playing both ways, and I think with us platoon, I think anytime you can play as fast as possible, I think you're right. Take advantage of that. I thought our O-line played better tonight. I thought Jalen obviously ran the ball hard. He's he doesn't go down on the first guy on contact very often, and defensively, our first team defense pitched a shutout tonight. We gave up the kickoff return that coming out of half that we've got to clean up. They scored a couple late, but overall, I was really pleased with our defense being able to get off the field when they had to.
Did you give up a sack tonight? I don't recall. I don't think there was.
I don't think so.
I don't think gave up a sack tonight. I'm sure Jesse was a little upset about the kickoff return because I think he had a special play plan for the first snap, didn't he?
He did.
He did get to run it though, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And the kid, we tried to set it up, and the kid bailed on it. So, but I was, again, we're very pleased with the way we came out, and in a game like this, it's important. You can either, just play, I guess, average or mediocre to coming out, or you come out on fire, after your open week. And I was really pleased with the way that we came out and started the ball game.
Now, I know you don't want to talk about the past, but what happened to you this last game?
Well, it was a good team, and I've not seen their score against Ryle, but we've played some good competition, and I think we struggled a little bit, to establish much of an offense, and I think we didn't play well. Well, the reason and that happens,
I know, and the reason I brought that up was not in a criticism way, but to talk about as a coach, you have to overcome that stuff, but you learn from it too.
You do, and look, we've lost 3 games, and they've been to 3 of the top 15 teams in the state of Kentucky. Yeah. And in 2 of them, and we could have won, but didn't play very well. And so in this open week, that's something that going forward that we've got to stress it. When you play very good teams, the margin of error becomes much smaller. And we're about to see one of those teams next week.
Yeah,
really. So you got a big one coming up, don't
you? You just can't make those errors against good football teams. And, we've got to come back and have another great week and push forward and get ready for a great bowl kind of team.
Well, I talked to a UFO at halftime. I had Dana.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't too happy with you for naming her a UFO. She looks like the type of person who wants to stay in the background if she can.
Yeah,
so.
She is awesome. She absolutely takes care of us and with equipment, with video, with whatever's needed. That's that behind the scenes person that you don't see that just and the boys recognize it. We're out here at Thursday practice, and she opens up all their lockers and hangs their jersey in their lockers. And just because she's a great person and great to have around our program.
How important is it to get a game like this where you get your you got probably your toughest district game coming up to be able to get your kids off the field, keep them healthy, get them an extra half off the field, and to be able to prepare.
Well, I thought, going back to the last game, I thought it was good to have an open week to get healed up a little bit, to get kind of refocused and recentered, and then charge into our second season, and then gain a little confidence tonight. We did, we've got some things to clean up, but we did some good things that we can build off of and say, hey, let's push forward. So I think it was great to build a little confidence going into next week, and then, just go play the best of our ability next week.
Well, you know what, Mark, you had to play some ball tonight too. I mean, I know there was a lot of points that way, but those kids can.
Hey,
that Robinson kid can
now.
run the football.
There's no doubt about it.
You got to tackle that guy.
You look at their skill kids now; they can absolutely play.
Wow.
They
are
run.
athletic.
You saw them on defense; they can run and hit.
Athletic.
I mean, they've got some kids now that we anticipated that. Going into the game, you could see it on film that they could run and they can make plays and they can break a tackle and make a big play. And I think everyone saw that tonight.
Yeah. Had you seen the even front on film before tonight?
Yes.
Had you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were kind of wondering which one we'd get, and we looked down and Warren saw the even front. Now, sometimes you don't always get that.
Well, that's what when we saw it, we were like, oh man, this might be a big game for Jalen. Because they basically gave you a 5-man box the first part of the game.
Yeah.
And you guys made play after play after play, and Kirk, got him in a rhythm early again, and then I thought he played lights out. He even got a pancake tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, that was awesome.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Well, the kids will go crazy when they see that on the film.
It's good to see your quarterback, and we got 2 yards. The guys were hooping and hollering, but I didn't care for that a whole. But I'm glad they saw our quarterback, step up and Go ahead.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the other 2 games that I've been here to, well, I guess it was the other game against Kickoff when I was here. Yeah. The first drive with Legend, I think Jalen cut one back and broke it back down this sideline, and Legend was out in front and he was blocking. And then later in the game, Kirk did the same thing. He cut it back and Kirk was out in front. So it was no surprise to me that he was blocking. But when he decleated a guy, when you see a quarterback lower his shoulder and decleat somebody like that, you are going to get jacked up on the sideline. How many of those do you have? Huh?
0.
Well, I tell you what, we want to congratulate you on your win, and it's a lot of fun to watch Lexington Catholic, and we're proud to be associated with you and your program. There's a lot of class and good people. Oh my goodness, your assistant coaching staff. I tell you what, that's a good group of guys.
I appreciate it. I'm pretty fortunate to have the group of coaches that we do. They're from I thought Jesse, like Donnie mentioned earlier, does a great job with the offense, and Nigel with the defense, and Kevin, obviously the big kick return, special teams. But if I could just steal 1 minute here. I enjoyed seeing all the youth out here tonight. It's kind of the future.
Yeah.
Our coin toss was the past, present, and future, and it was great to see all those little kids running around, the alumni coming back, and this isn't just a football team right now. It's a program, and you see the guys, the tradition.
Yeah, that's great.
Of Lexington Catholic, and then the future coming up. It was great to see that group out tonight.
And I loved it when you brought in your freshman quarterback, and he short armed the screen. So what'd you do? You just call it again to the other side. Right. You're going to make him be successful. I loved it though.
That's right.
Give that kid some confidence. Put him on a big stage. See what he can do, and give him some confidence. I loved it. I thought it was a great job.
And Luke's a gritty kid. He's had to play JV and freshman because when you lose a quarterback like Legend, then Kirk steps up, and then all of a sudden your freshman quarterback's both, and he's just gritty. The JV's 5-0,
wow.
and it's with him. He's just out there. He's a competitive kid. He's fun to watch.
Well, listen. Congratulations again on your score, and we'll take a little break and come back and wrap it up real quickly here on PrepSpin. Lexington Catholic again defeats Western Hills in a big game tonight. Big district game next week. Congratulations, but good luck.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks,
See you, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Lexington Catholic victorious over Western Hills tonight, 49-14 here in Lexington. The Knights never headed, led 35-7 at halftime, or 35-0 at halftime. A couple of fourth quarter touchdowns from Western Hills made it respectable. And really, I think they epitomized their head coach, and Donnie does a great job down there at Western Hills, and they really epitomized their head coach. He was a pit bull as a coach, and just really didn't quit at Western Hills. There's good things ahead for Western Hills in the future under Donnie Miller down there. But Lexington Catholic, a big one next week. They'll take on Boyle County. Western Hills will take on a really good Garrett County ball club down in Frankfort. So this district shaping up to be pretty good. We've had some scores throughout the area. One we just got that I want to give some people. Had some people that I know that text me. It is Anderson County 35-20 right now over Woodford. Early fourth quarter down there in Versailles. So that's another one. Coach, guys, did we get any updates on the other games? I haven't seen any. You know, any updates on those other games that we had? Lafayette, Dunbar, those games over there. No updates since then. Okay, so. Well, now LCA wins up in Middlesboro. That's a tough place to win, especially after a long bus ride up to, or I should say down to the southeastern part of the state. Coach Walker trying to find it out for us. But we want to thank our sponsors here on PrepSpin. A high-def video presented by White, Greer, and Maggard. I got it right for the first time tonight, guys. Our good sponsor there for PrepSpin Network, along with Kentucky Sports Medicine, Collins Bowling Centers in Eastland and Southland, Lexington Clinic, Traditional Bank, Roberts Insurance, All Sports in the Fayette Mall, Robbie Davis and Zija. Had an opportunity to try that. I'll highly recommend it for you anyway, as well as Night Vision here on our network tonight. So Catholic gets the win over very game Western Hills Ball Club by a final score of 49-14. Any updates on those games that we had? Boyle won 48-0 over Garrett. And
Highlands got a win, 42-7 over Dixie Heights.
Highlands gets their second win of the year, 42-7 over a pretty decent Dixie Heights Ball Club.
Bryan Station wins 19-7 over Dunbar.
So Bryan Station held scoreless in the second half. I think it was 19-0 at halftime in favor of the defenders. So a lot of really good. Cooper B. Ryle up in the northern part of the state. So.
And you can let Gary Ball know that Simon Kenton only beat Boone County 37-13.
Okay. So if our good friend Gary Ball's listening, Boone only loses to Simon Kenton 37-13. So we tease Gary about the Boone County Rebels, but pretty good ball club up there. Yeah. So again, Catholic over Western Hills here tonight, 49-14. I don't know where the guys here with the PrepSpin Network will be next week, but I know where I'll be. You'll be Boyle County. And Boyle and Lexington Catholic next week over in Danville. Should be a good ball game. Or Somerset. Oh, and Somerset LCA. And I'll be back with my network. So great working with Coach Me, and we've done it before. Last year, though, the one time we did it, we had a basketball score. No defense over at Henry Clay High School. And first time working with Donnie, but I've known Donnie a little while. We've actually met a couple of times before, but first time working with Donnie. So, William, thank you, buddy. And we'll see you later. I think William wants to get home with that new baby. Can't blame him, though. Cute little thing. So for all Coach Meehan and Coach Walker, along with all the fine folks here at Lexington Catholic, so long from Lexington.